It's tourney time, baby. Yeah. You combine the tournament and St. Patrick's Day, you got yourself something. Holy damn. By the way, I don't want to hear any of this crap that suddenly Notre Dame is the team of destiny because they won with 12:02 on the clock and it was St. Patrick's Day. I don't want to hear any of that because they're not going anywhere. They're going to get beat by Alabama. I hate to say it, but enjoy your day, enjoy your victory, and then by Friday, heading out to the West Coast, your season comes to an end. Just wanted to throw that out there. Not to be the big wet blanket to start out the show that way. God, I love tournament time. I certainly do. Today, we got a good one coming up today. We've got the Vice President of Business Affairs, Rick Schlessinger, going to be joining us coming up here just a little while. Also, we got Pete Doherty today. We'll talk about no Bojorquez. I thought Bojorquez did a pretty good job, unless, of course, he just, for whatever reason, cannot hold a field goal or a kick for Mason Crosby, and maybe they just need to find a new leg. But they restructured the contract. Randall Cobb, Devondre Campbell's contract's done. Bojorquez is gone. They did let Lucas Patrick go. He goes to the Bears, which we talked a little bit about yesterday. Not happy about that. But for the most part, a little bit of jockeying going on. But today, the madness begins. Ben, now I know you've been up early. You've been doing a show. Are you geeked? Are you ready for today?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hesitant, Bill. I went to sleep early last night. I woke up early. I'll be here until 8. So it kind of starts tomorrow for me. I am excited for it to start, but it isn't like I'm going to sit on my couch all day and drink beer day, obviously.
So so yesterday I was, you and I were talking during the show and then off the air after I got off the air about coming into town. I know you're coming to town tomorrow, so we're not going to do Stenny's. You got dinner plans. We're going to do Stenny's, but you're not. So I go downstairs yesterday because I told you the guys from Budweiser showed up. So they dropped some, and Kristen can crush Bud Lights. So they always bring some cases for her, and they drop some stuff off for me and everything. So, but what they got for you is the 30-pack. You got the 30-pack. Yeah, you get the bonus 6. The 30-pack they dropped off. It's sitting here and waiting, man. That's not a bad way to go.
Well, my taste, I can taste the taste of beer in my mouth. I'm just a little more than a day away from touching it.
The 30-pack.
I can't wait.
So I was kind of shocked. I went downstairs and there's 3 or 4 cases sitting there. I'm like, oh, this is great. Nice. And then I look over and it says to Ben. And it's our guys from Beechwood Distributing and Budweiser. And they said, here's the 30-pack. Knowing you're a collegiate guy living out in that area, rather than the bottles, as I have in the house, they brought you the 30-pack of cans.
Wow.
So there you go.
That's a good day.
That's not bad. That's not bad. So we got that going. Kristen got over here early today. She has been cooking the corned beef and cabbage all night. It's so tender you can break it apart with a spoon. As soon as I'm off the air, boom! We're going somewhere. Not sure where. I think we might head to the Bear Trap for a little bit. Listen to a buddy of ours play music. But heading out. I'm going to make the rounds today a little while. By the way, for those of you living in La Crosse listening to the program, the green pullover today is the La Crosse. I try to stay with green, but I also go with the teams. So I didn't do anything Green Bay Packer. I went with the La Crosse Loggers today. The La Crosse Loggers pullover today. So that's what I did. So there you go. So all that going on. So I'm excited. Although I was disappointed to see Rutgers go down last night. I was a little bit shocked, to be honest with you. But beyond that, I posted my picks. Although people are having a little trouble reading them. I get it. I had a couple of beers. I had a cigar. I was writing them down as I was going through, doing all my reading, sitting at the bar the other night. But they're there. There they are. They're all printed out. I posted them over on the Facebook fan page. So if you want to see them, go there. And that way, I'm not full of crap, anything like that. Bam, how we looking? You can see all my picks right there, and do that. So that's another way, kind of get one over on me, I guess, if you choose to do so. So that's it. I'm fired up today. It's one of those days where you come in. We got a lot going on. I get it. We've got Pete Doherty coming up in less than an hour from now, as a matter of fact. Going to talk some Packers and the restructure and everything that's gone on. Rick Schlessinger, VP of Business Affairs for the Milwaukee Brewers, going to join us a couple of hours from now. And our buddy Mark Schofield from the NFL Wire is going to be here to talk to us about the reshaping of everything going on regarding the Green Bay Packers and the rest of the NFL. So we thought Von Miller was going back to L.A. He did not. The Rams lose him. So, by the way, got to say happy birthday to Bruce. Bruce, happy birthday. Our buddy Bruce said to pass it along. So there you go. So happy birthday to Bruce as well. And I also have to acknowledge this because otherwise I would be remiss, because I love it when I get emails, and then when they're nasty, or not nasty, but just different. I recognize them as well. Whenever I go after somebody, I usually never hear from them. Okay. And God knows I have. If you listen to the program, you know I've gone after people before. Yesterday, there was a guy named Adam who tweeted me and had a derogatory thing to say about one of our sponsors. And I went after him. He had the cojones to write me, and very sensibly, I might add. I appreciate that. He's no longer a listener, he says, but Adam, if by chance Adam Fisher, or Fleischner, I should say, if Adam's listening, or somebody that knows Adam, I give him kudos for just having the cojones to stand up and say, this is what I was saying. This is what I meant. My bad. And he was pissed off at me, and that's fair. I appreciate that, because you don't always see or hear the ramifications after a conversation on the air. And sometimes, most of the 99.9% of the time, people that are Jags are Jags. They walk away, they smirk, they smile, they go do their thing, they go with their Twitter muscles on down the street. Adam did not. He had the balls to write me, and I appreciate that. I wrote him back, but I appreciate that. I like that. I've always said this should be adults in a bar talking, arguing, agreeing, high-fiving, drinking sports. That's what it should be. So, Adam, you to me. 877-867-1670. That's the number to get a hold of us. If you want to find us over on Twitter, do so at Bill_Michaels. At Bill_Michaels. You can find us over on the Facebook fan page. Find my picks over there as well. And yes, we continue to add to the wine collection. For those of you, and I got all kinds. Ben, how many people called yesterday with suggestions regarding wine?
In the tens, like at
tens?
Least 18.
Okay. That's which is, for a sports program to get 18 calls for wine, that's quite a bit. I got probably 7 to 10 emails all about wine and wineries in the state of Wisconsin. And I love it. You know me, man. I've always said, Stephanie Klett, wherever the hell you are, you should be calling us, because we travel the state. We do affiliate shows everywhere, and we go see new things all the time. If there is anybody that can be an ambassador for everything in the state of Wisconsin, it's this program. It's this damn program, and we reach everybody. So I started getting these emails yesterday for all these different wineries and all these different places to buy wine and all these craft breweries that are opening up. And oh my goodness, it was amazing. So to everybody that gave me suggestions, it's great. I got up this morning. I was in Woodman's. I went over there, and I had just to pick a couple of things up. And one of the cord for my my phone charger had broke, and they got them over there for like $10. So I stopped in and get one. It's a 10-foot cord. Anyway, I'm walking through Woodman's. I saw a friend of mine. I'm talking to him. And as I'm leaving, I'm walking around. This is like it's 7 a.m. But the guy that opens up the liquor department, the big giant liquor store on the other side of Woodman's, walks past, and he kind of does that, knocks on the window. Hey, and he's pointing at me. And I'm like, I looked around like, me? And he opens the door, you know how, because they can't open before 8 a.m. So he opens the door with his hands. He pulls it open. He goes, "Are you Bill Michaels?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Hey, a friend of mine called and knew you lived in Waukesha. I was wondering if you came here." And I said, "Yeah, I've been coming here for, a couple years now." And he said, "They've got wine for you. It's a local winery." I think I don't want to misquote him. I think it was Cedar Creek. I'm not sure. But people are knocking on windows out, like wine is coming out of, it's like we're you know what? God did this. Didn't Jesus do this where he turned water to wine? We're just got wine flooding in. So now we got to have some kind of a party. We got to do something with it, like support our local wineries and do something with it before it's all said and done. So I will take suggestions and see what we can possibly do for a little bit of wine. And for those that aren't wine drinkers, we got Bud Light. We can always, fortify that. So I thought I'd throw that out there too. What a weird day yesterday. 877-867-1670. Want to hit us up? Feel free to do so. This is from Brent. Brent says, hey, Unit, who you got in your Final Four? My Final Four, and you can find it over on the Facebook fan page. Gonzaga, Kentucky, Villanova, Kansas. My final two, Gonzaga, Villanova. I got Gonzaga 73-69 over Villanova to win it all. I didn't go straight chalk, but pretty close. I took a couple of shots, have a couple of gut feelings, but pretty close. Didn't go straight chalk, but there you have it. 73-69. Gonzaga gets the national title over Villanova. How we looking? That's what I got. Thank you for asking. Ben, who you got in your Final Four?
My Final Four looks a lot different than yours. I have Texas Tech, Purdue, Arizona, and Iowa. I'm in love with all of the 3 seeds, even though I think Wisconsin.
Yeah, I heard that today. Yeah, I don't think Wisconsin's going to end up in the Final Four. So your Final Four again is who? Texas Tech?
Texas Tech, Purdue, Arizona, and Iowa.
I could see Arizona. I don't think Iowa's getting there. I don't see Iowa getting past Kansas. Kansas is just so good. And I hate it. I can't stand it. It pains me. And anybody that knows me know it pains me. So I'm not picking with my heart when it comes to Kentucky. Kentucky, it just, for everything I read, everybody I've talked to, Kentucky seems to be for real. And they think they're a Final Four team. Although I will say, I'm not a I'm not a Calipari fan. I'm not a Kentucky fan. I'm not a fan of Kentucky fans by any stretch of the imagination. But it seems to be Kentucky. So
what's up with the Villanova love?
You know what? I've watched them play a couple of times this year. I just really like the way they play. They can score beyond the arc. They're fast hands. They play really good transitional defense, and they create offense with it. They just don't have a ton of flaws. That's all. They just don't. But I just got that feeling, and I look at it as I think they have a pretty clear path. I think they can get past Loyola Chicago. As much as I like Tennessee, I just don't think this is Tennessee's year. I think they're going as far as they can go. So I got Villanova and Arizona. I don't have I can't just go chalk Arizona as a 1 straight across the board. I just think Villanova's had more experience. So I went with Villanova there to get in the Final Four. And I as much as I like Bill Self, I don't think Kansas is ready to take the throne. So I put Villanova in there. That's why. I think Loyola Chicago is going to knock off Ohio State. Now, if Ohio State gets past Loyola Chicago, then Villanova's up for a pretty good challenge. But I just think Loyola Chicago right now kind of rolling, and Ohio State's not playing their best basketball right now. And so I like Villanova to beat Loyola Chicago. I think they're going to get past Tennessee, and that puts them up against Arizona in the Elite Eight. I think they get the win. There you go. That's all. Simple. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I see it. I don't know. As a former Nova guy, I've kind of learned, except for the national championship teams, that they're a 2 seed and they'll lose to a 7.
But you just said, except for the national championship teams.
Right. But those happened later in my childhood.
It's just
when I was young, it was they'd be a 2. They'd play like, I don't know, USC, who's a 7.
Yeah.
They lose every time.
Yeah. Well, that's what you love about the tournament. And the one thing about the tournament over the last few years, it has been wrought with upsets. The college basketball, more so than college football, has become such, I don't want to say an even playing field, but it's become a lot more balanced in the last decade. It just has. Now, and we've even seen, the first, 16 seed to get a win. And they did that over Virginia. So it's just become so much more balanced, I think. Or at least the playing field has tipped in the favor of balance over the last decade. So anything can happen. I agree with that. So we'll see. We'll see. I got money on this, so I had to really read and try to do my due diligence.
Jay Wright is going to look tremendous, though.
Oh, that's a given. That's a given.
Oh, the spray tan is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, the spray tan will be fine as long as he doesn't go too much, because then he gets orange. Gets a little orange, but the
I don't know.
hair is always good.
I still think the orange looks good on him.
Okay. Looks like a tall, skinny Oompa Loompa.
That wins basketball games.
There you go. 877-867-1670. The madness is going to begin in about an hour from now. First to tip off will be Michigan. And I was searching around. I'm flipping through and I'm looking at all the matchups, and I was watching the Four-Letter Network, and I'm like, I can't watch all this anymore, and all the Deshaun Watson coverage and such. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I just flipping through before I went on the air. And for whatever reason, my TV froze. It is frozen at the moment. I got to reset it. It's frozen on Quincy, the old Quincy show. I don't know if that's a sign or not for anything. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Your race tickets await at Road America, the Moto America Superbikes, IndyCar, NASCAR, and so much more. Go to roadamerica.com for your tickets right now. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, one and all. Welcome back. Between St. Patrick's Day and March Madness, it's a good one today. Got to say thanks to our friends at Bud Light Hard Soda as well. It's seltzer with a pop of soda, the loudest flavors ever. Classic Cola, Cherry Cola, Citrus Soda, and Orange Soda. And Bud Light has nailed it and got it right, and all the way with zero sugar. Check out our friends at Bud Light and Bud Light Hard Soda. So, Ben, who was that? That wasn't a local band, right?
Oh, Dropkick Murphys.
Was that Dropkick Murphys? I wasn't sure. They're Boston, right? Boston band.
Yeah, that's the Irish Boston blood in me.
Okay. Yeah, Kristen's had that stuff fired up all day.
Oh, it's great.
So the drop.
It's great at certain times. I'll say that.
Yes. I remember when they played Wrigley Field. That was a huge deal. When they played Wrigley some years back, and it's not Wrigley, Fenway, some years back, and just the whole place, entire place rocked. I didn't go, but a friend of mine was there, and he said it was an amazing concert.
It's the soundtrack of the Departed too.
Yeah,
so,
Departed.
Yeah, Boston people
right.
love that stuff.
Oh, so yeah, the Dropkick Murphy is going to be played a lot today, a whole lot today. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hey, we were talking winery yesterday. Jake, he is been with Jake Wagner. He's been the winemaker at Forgotten Fire Winery for a long time. Been there since the beginning. And remember yesterday, I was telling you about the Peshtigo fire?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? So he actually, and just to give everybody that lives in the state of Wisconsin a little lesson, Forgotten Fire Winery is called that because of the Peshtigo fire. It was the same day in 1871 as the Great Chicago Fire. And even though the Peshtigo fire was actually larger and more destructive in many ways, it's forgotten about because it happened on the same day as the fire in Chicago. So everybody talks about Mrs. O'Leary's cow and the Great Chicago Fire, but they fail to remember the Peshtigo fire up in northern Wisconsin, up just south of Menominee-Marinette. So that's the reason they called it Forgotten Fire Winery. Did not know. Again, just preaching the state of Wisconsin here. It's what we do. So thanks for reaching out. Got to get up there. If they really want to get some more pub, you can always send us some stuff. Just throwing it out there. AutoCat says Packers have to get a new punter. What about Pat O'Donnell from the Bears? Punters, I'm not necessarily concerned about. The biggest thing about a punter is you got to be a good holder as well. That's the big thing for a punter.
They signed Pat O'Donnell today.
Oh, did they end up signing him? Okay,
yeah,
I knew that. I wasn't sure if they ended up signing him or not. So there you go. So they got him. Pat O'Donnell, the new punter for the Green Bay Packers. Let's hope he's a better holder than Corey Bojorquez. And Bojorquez, boy, I tell you what, you talk about a big leg. But the problem was he was somewhat inconsistent. You know, he'd give you 2 or 3 games where he was kicking 50, 55 yards easy. And all of a sudden, he'd give you one where you really, really need it. And 32 yards. He was just inconsistent that way. Our buddy Steve said it's been a long couple of years since the madness has come back in full force. Bring on dunks, 3-pointers, upset, Cinderella. How we looking? Good luck to Bucky and Marquette. Hopefully they can both maneuver into the next weekend. Tournament can get started on a high note as Colorado State hopefully smokes Michigan. Is Michigan? Now, I know in these parts, Michigan's hated. I know in Columbus, Ohio, Michigan is hated. I get that. But I'm looking at stuff across the country. There's a lot of people that don't like what Dwan Howard did in reaching out and trying to take a slap. And there's a lot of people that are rooting against Michigan that feel like Michigan let him off easy. I think the country's looking at Michigan, short of people that actually live near Ann Arbor. I think a lot of the country is looking at this going, first game, let's see Michigan just get trounced. There's a lot of people that don't think that they even belong as their seeding goes because they just didn't earn it. You know, an 11 seed when you got Rutgers and Indiana beat them both playing into the tournament, and Michigan got handed an 11 seed. So people, I agree with you. Let's see if Colorado State can smoke them, get them out of the tournament. Kudos to Russ Ball and Brady Gutekunst for the fantastic job to date, getting the job done on the salary cap. I would think that there's more jockeying and cuts yet to come. And they can get Devontae under contract. Lastly, the first radio broadcast for the Milwaukee Brewers Sunday with decent weather. This could be the first cocktail on the deck this spring, listening to the broadcast, seeing the ridiculous contract that Chris Bryant signed has that priced Anthony Rizzo and any other potential first baseman out of it. Let the madness begin. Yeah, that contract, God. Well, and then you saw Freddie Freeman sign with the Dodgers. You figured the Dodgers were going to swoop in at some point, right? So Freddie Freeman's off to the Dodgers. So now we'll see. Now we'll see what happens. I kept thinking that the Brewers, knowing that's one area of concern, might grab themselves a first baseman, but as the money has gone, which I find it funny. Don't you find it interesting, Ben, that the owners complain about the money and then go out and sign Freddie Freeman and company and Schwarber to these stupid, huge contracts?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And the Cubs owners trying to buy a soccer team.
Right?
But he can't pay Chris Bryant.
I just, it's fascinating to me how you can sit there and cry poor mouth. We don't have money. We can't do this. We can't do that. And then the minute the deal is signed, you get drunk on yourself. You throw up on yourself. You puke in your own shoes and you toss out an exorbitant amount of money. Zero F's given when it comes to the ownership of any Major League Baseball team. We will talk a little bit later on, though, with Rick Schlessinger, and I got to bring it up. I don't know if anybody saw this. It was in the Journal Sentinel very quietly a week ago, where they're going to ask for assistance in paying for $100 million in renovation. And it's always an interesting topic whenever you talk about, billionaire owners looking for public assistance in getting money. They just paid off American Family Field just a couple of years ago. They just got it paid off. They got that Wisconsin Stadium District debt paid off and that sales tax rescinded and such. And now they're looking at doing it again. And the one thing that many people felt was it'll never end. It'll be paid off in 20 years, but it doesn't matter because they're going to find another way to screw us and take our money and such. And they did pay it off. And that sales tax did come to an end. However, now you have to ask yourself, first of all, what renovations are needed to Miller Park or to American Family Field? What renovations? It's a beautiful ballpark. I don't know anything underneath infrastructure. Like at County Stadium needed to be redone. It was a toilet. It was awful. They needed to level it and start over, and they did. And they did it magnificently. But underneath, I don't know what would be. It looks as new today as it did the day it opened. They keep that ballpark immaculate. So I don't know what infrastructure for $100 million has to be done. Now, unless you're talking maintenance on the roof, certainly, you're going to start, changing out some of the bogeys and such. I get that. For the opening and closing of that roof, that is a massive, massive, massive structure. But I don't know what specific they have in mind for needs for that ballpark for that amount of money. But before you jump on the screw them, I'm not paying a dime bandwagon, think about it some years ago when we were leading the charge, basically, for new money for the Fiserv Forum. Had you not, as a state, put that money up, you wouldn't have had what you have. You wouldn't have the NCAA tournament here. You wouldn't have a Bucks championship in the state of Wisconsin. You wouldn't have that influx of income. You wouldn't have had the reinvention of the Deer District for the area downtown. And don't forget, Milwaukee County pays the taxes into the state of Wisconsin and basically receives an equal share as everybody else. But that's the largest city, and the more taxes that get paid there, the more it gets spread out to the rest of the state, which is something that Milwaukee County is arguing about right now. But that's neither here nor there. But $100 million in the grand scheme of things, and I know I'm going to sound stupid when I say this, it's kind of a drop in the bucket. It's kind of a no-brainer to keep Milwaukee Brewers baseball here. Just think about what we would not have without the Brewers. Think about the tax dollars that would not be coming into the state without the Brewers and without the Bucks. So before you jump on the screw them bandwagon, you really do got to think about it. And then my thought is, if you do it, it pretty much guarantees the fact that they're going to remain. Because in 2030, that's when the lease is up. And if by chance they don't want to remain in the state of Wisconsin, being the smallest media market in all of major sports, they have the ability to move. And obviously we don't want that. So you got to kind of weigh that. I know it's a touchy subject. I know people get pissed, but you got to be smart. Got to be smart. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. But we're going to talk with Rick Schlessinger coming up here in about an hour and a half from now. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Now, Gina Della from Pella, Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, with some choice words.
Oh, do I have some choice words? One window line fits all? Where's the choice in that? Sounds more like take it or leave it, to which I say leave it and choose Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Talk about choices. Others may have one or two window lines, but with Pella, you'll choose from Pella's 6 lines to suit your taste and budget. 2 lines of energy efficient, budget-friendly vinyl windows, Pella Impervia, the strongest material for windows, to 3 lines of luxurious wood windows, traditional to contemporary. Speaking of choices, right now choose 18 months no payments and no interest, or $300 off each window, $700 off a Pella entry system, and $1,000 off a patio door. Whatever you choose, just be sure to book your choices by March 31st. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Restrictions apply. See showroom for details. Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. We are glad you are with us. Welcome back to the Bill Michaels Show. Want to remind you, a week from Friday, a week from tomorrow, please come by. It's Friday, March 25th, 5 to 7. We're going to be at Albanese's Roadhouse right there on Blue Mound Road, 2301 West Blue Mound Road in Waukesha, right next to Menards, across the street from Home Depot. Please come out. We're going to be doing some celebrity bartending out there. Myself, Gina Della from Pella, which this charity is very close to her heart. It's called Special Spaces, and they basically create these beautiful bedrooms for kids that are going through and battling cancer, going through cancer treatments and such. And they do such a wonderful job with all of this. And they're going to be the benefactor. We're going to give all of our tips, any other money raised. We're going to do all of this from 5 to 7 coming up a week from tomorrow on Friday, March 25th, 5 to 7, Albanese's Roadhouse. Please come out. Please come out and join us. Come on out and have yourself a beverage, something we can serve you. And enjoy. And Joey's got some great food there, so if you want to eat there as well, that's fantastic. But come on out, and we're gonna live stream the whole thing. So if you're not in the area and you want to watch the live stream, maybe make a donation, you can do that. So please come on out if you can. It's coming up on Friday, March 25th, 5 to 7 on at Albanese's Roadhouse, right on Blue Mound Road, 2301 Blue Mound Road, Waukesha, next to Menards and across the street from Home Depot. So come on out and say hello. 877-867-1670. So the Freddie Freeman deal, $162 million, which I shouldn't say it that way anymore because we should be pretty much used to these ridiculous contracts. But they finally, it's a 6-year deal, 6 years, $162 million. And in Major League Baseball, that's all guaranteed. The Braves first baseman, Matt Olson, The Braves signed their first baseman, Matt Olson, to an 8-year, $168 million contract extension. They got him in a trade from the Oakland A's the day before. So Freeman out, Olson in. Freeman goes to the Dodgers. And the Brewers still, you'd like to see a free agent first baseman come in if the Brewers, because that's the only area really that you can think of when it comes to knowing need as to, who's left, so to speak. So you'd like to see Major League Baseball, or not to see Major League, but the Milwaukee Brewers find themselves another first baseman if they could, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get into some or all of this. Chris Bryant gets that 7-year deal with the Rockies. So he gets 7 years, $182 million. $182 million he gets with the Rockies. Just gets crazy. Banana money. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so again, 877-867-1670. You're still hoping for Anthony Rizzo, aren't you, Ben?
No, he's in New York.
Oh, he did go to New York. That's right. I forgot about that. He did go to New York. So the Anthony Rizzo deal is dead. We can officially scrap the petition to get him here. So
they were all kind of pipe dreams, right? These aren't contracts the Brewers are really going to give out, or those at least. But I do think there could be a bargain or two left to be made.
There might be. I just don't know. Yeah, you would have loved to have seen. Now, the Brewers weren't going to get into that kind of money. They could have maybe overpaid for a shorter term contract, but they weren't going to pay that kind of money. That's the sad part about it. Kyle Schwarber's gone. He's off to the Phillies. For Anthony, who just said, what about Kyle Schwarber? He went to the Phillies. Phillies, right? He went to the Phillies.
Yep.
Yeah, Phillies. So yeah, he's gone. So yeah, there's those premier first basemen that you were kind of holding your breath for. Nah, baby, nah. Not happening. Not coming anywhere near the Brewers, unfortunately. I would have loved to have seen the Brewers just kind of say, look, now's our time. The Central's wide open. We should be the most dominant team in the Central. Let's just take that next step and go, here you go. But coming off of back-to-back years in which you either had no fans or a limited amount of fans, it probably wasn't the easiest of times to say, hey, let's go out and spend additional money. But I give the Brewers credit for what they did last year. Coming out of a season in which they didn't have any fans at all, they still went out and got Colton Wong and still made some moves and spent money. And that was impressive. That was impressive. So we'll talk a little bit more about baseball coming up after the top of next hour, or the hour after. Coming up after the top of this hour, we're going to talk with Pete Doherty, the Green Bay Press-Gazette, as the Packers continue to make moves, continue to cut down to get themselves under the salary cap yesterday. Now what else is left for this team? And what else do they have to do? And how much is going to be cut? What else is going to be spent? What other areas of need do they have? And we'll get into all of that coming up here in just a few. Keith says, I still believe the Brewers are one of the best teams in the National League. They should be a team to be contend with. Can they get to the NLCS and beyond? I think this is their year. Have faith. I think their pitching can get them there. Anytime you got good pitching. But I think what we're hoping for, let's be honest, okay? If you really want to cut it down to size, this is the bottom line. The bottom line is, do you get Christian Yelich back? Do you get a good Christian Yelich back, right? Does Christian Yelich hit? Does Andrew McCutchen hit and give you some of the power numbers? Does Hunter Renfroe hit? Give you some of the power numbers. Does Lorenzo Cain get back to a batting average of 270 or more? That type of thing. But if Christian Yelich can give you 280, 275, but boost the power numbers, if he can give you more, then what he's given you at least the last year and a half. He hasn't given you 21 home. He gave you 21 home runs in the last 2 years. Can he get to 30? Can he get to 26, 27, 28 this year and actually get back to hitting the ball hard? If Christian Yelich can do that, I think everything else falls into place. Urias solidified himself over at third base. Your infield, for the most part, short of first base, is set. Not that Rowdy Tellez is going to be any kind of a defensive backstop over there, because he's really not. He's more there just because he can hit some home runs. He can give you a little bit of an average, but that's about the extent of it. But can he give you better than what he gave you last year? You know, Rowdy Tellez last year, 11 home runs, hit 240 something, 242. So he's got to give you better than that. And maybe the platoon situation at first base turns out to be something much, much better, but you'd still like to see an everyday guy that has a batting average of, say, 265, 270, can give you some pop of 25 homers, you know, that type of thing. Give you an OPS right around 800, 850. You don't have to be crazy with, you know, a 910 OPS. Just give me 800, give me 850, somewhere in there. Something more consistent than what you've had in the past. If you can get that, you're not bad. Let's step away. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You want to park your shillelagh somewhere. You get it? St. Patrick's Day reference? How are we looking? Get a hold of our friends over at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson, and they've got a lot of the new Harleys in. They've got a terrific selection of used Harleys, and who knows, maybe you get lucky. There you go. And find my buddy Craig, the general manager over there. Find him in today or tomorrow or over the weekend for that matter, and get yourself a terrific new ride. Something you've just always wanted. That's our friends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Go to wishd.com. That's wishd.com. Again, wishd.com. Andrew McCutchen showed up at Brewers training camp. He said, I had some decisions to make pretty quickly, and the Brewers were on top of it, showing their interest in me, which is something I appreciated and was one of the reasons that led me to come here. Of course, there's some other things as well, but it's great to be here. I'm happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to getting started. Now, McCutchen, he already joins a relatively crowded outfield, but it looks like he's going to be slotted to do a lot of DH work as well. He's going to be out there with the, Christian Yelich and Lorenzo Cain, Hunter Renfroe, who was acquired from the Red Sox right before the lockout. The Brewers also have the return of Tyrone Taylor, but the arrival of, McCutchen and the arrival of the DH in the NL, the National League, should give the Brewers a little more opportunities to play all these guys and get them enough at bats. In the addition as well, McCutchen also provides the insurance in case of injury. Cain played just 78 games, and Yelich appeared in 117 games last season. And they don't, because we keep talking about, well, they don't need anybody. Well, yeah, they do. You keep forgetting that Lorenzo Cain only played 78 games last year. Christian Yelich, I don't know what issues he had, but he only played 117 games last year as well. So McCutchen isn't playing at the all-star level that he showed when he was with Pittsburgh. We all know that. He batted .222 with 27 homers and 80 RBI while posting a .334 on-base percentage and a .444 slugging percentage with the Philadelphia Phillies last year. But he hit .293 with a .405 on-base percentage against left-handers. Think about that at American Family Field. And he's also got a history of performing well here. He batted .289 with a .350 on base percentage, 23 dingers and 61 RBIs at American Family Field in his playing career. And after playing for the Pirates from 2009 through 2017, he was with San Francisco, New York, and Philadelphia. And now he's ready to get back into, as he said, just his last team, one more team, and to get back into the National League Central. So I said it at the time. I thought a good move. I thought a good move for the Brewers was when they picked up Andrew McCutchen. I really did. I thought it was solid. It gives him a lot of versatility. It gives him good insurance. It gives him more stick at DH. He hits well at American Family Field. He hits left-handers extremely well. So it really does give them, statistically, when you talk about the sabermetrics of baseball, it gives you that ability to be versatile. So another good bat in the lineup. I liked it. I don't know how some of you felt. I know that there was some consternation because of being yet another outfielder, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. 877-867-1670. By the way, the Randall Cobb thing, and I put this out on Twitter, but they're talking about, Cobb being restructuring. And it's not a restructure. He took $5 million less. He took a pay cut. He was due to make $9.5 million. He's making $4.5 million. Give Randall Cobb. We always talk about players towards the end of their career. We want them to take a pay cut, and they're talking money, and he took the pay cut. He did not restructure. He took a pay cut just to stay with the Green Bay Packers, the team that drafted him, and obviously to be there with Aaron Rodgers and such. And who knows? Maybe Rodgers said, "Hey, take a pay cut, wink, wink, nod, nod, and I'll write you a check for $5 million." Who knows? But he took a pay cut. I give him a lot of credit. A lot of credit. Hopefully you do as well. That's solid. That's real solid. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. 16-70. Hey, one other thing, one other note. Last night, the Bucks continue to win, 135-126 on the road. They knocked off the Sacramento Kings last night. Giannis obviously dropping 36 in that contest. But Brook Lopez, again, 15 minutes, only had 3 points, but 15 minutes, couple of boards last night, up and down the floor pretty well, a couple of fouls, I think, 3 or 4, something like that. But it wasn't a great night for Brook, but still getting his legs under him, and which is good. It was good to see him back on the floor again, not sore, not ailing as they thought he might be after the other night. But good to see Brook Lopez play again last night. Chris Middleton dropping 32. As much as we talk about Giannis and what he did last night, you got Chris Middleton went 7 of 10 beyond the arc last night. He was draining. He was feeling it. Also, he had 8 assists. 8 assists. 8 assists out of the team's 21 assists last night went to Chris Middleton. He's playing some good basketball right now. Big time. Bobby Portis last night, 12 points. But in the plus minus, I got up this morning and I was reading the stats because I wanted to see, because I thought Bobby Portis played pretty well. He had 3 assists. He had 6 boards last night. He was pretty tenacious. He was on backside defense, played pretty well. And it wasn't the shots that he contested. It was the fact that shots weren't taken because he was playing that well, which I thought was pretty good. And he ended up with a plus 13 last night in the plus minus. So Bobby Portis played some good basketball last evening also. Good stuff. Coming up after the top of the hour, Pete Doherty, the Green Bay Press-Gazette's going to be here. We're going to talk a little bit more about Randall Cobb, the fact that the Packers have signed a new punter, and Bajorquez out, got a new guy coming in. So we're going to talk some punter, and also what else needs to be done for this Green Bay Packers team, and who else he thinks is going to find their way either out the door with another restructure. And in addition to that, you got Devontae. We'll talk a little Devontae and everything else that goes along with it. By the way, the Cleveland Browns have now officially said we are out. They are not in on the Deshaun Watson stuff anymore. They're done. Baker Mayfield is going to be their quarterback. There you go. You're getting a live look outside right now on the Bud Light live stream. As I went outside today, I cleaned up the backyard a little bit. Picked it up. Brushed off the patio a little bit. I'm feeling it. Nice warm weather. Looking for some rain tomorrow. Kind of wash it off from all the blech that was there underneath the snow and the ice. But it's coming along. Coming along. Feeling it. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We are just moments away from madness. I can't wait. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the NCAA tournament going to kick into high gear this morning across the country, but Wisconsin going to have to wait to get into action. Third-seeded Badgers don't play until late tomorrow night against 14-seed Colgate at Fiserv Forum. But Wisconsin will be on the court for an open practice later today in Milwaukee. They're preparing for a Raiders team that ranks second in the country in shooting from beyond the arc and has won 15 straight games. And looking at the film, Coach Greg Gard sees plenty to worry about.
The ball moves really well. They don't over-dribble it. They've got smart old guys. Obviously, you're at Colgate. You're pretty smart. Old guys, too, that have played a lot of basketball and have come up through together with that core group for the most part. So had a lot of success. 4 of the 5 on the floor all the time shoot it really well. They don't take bad ones. They just play.
The good news for Wisconsin is that Johnny Davis has practiced this week. He was limited much of last week with an ankle injury. It showed in a 3-for-19 performance against Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament. Again, it's going to be the Badgers and Colgate tomorrow night around 8:50. Turning to the Bucks, they beat Sacramento 135-126 last night. Giannis led the way with 36 points. Chris Middleton had 32. Going to be at Minnesota on Saturday.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Rural Mutual Insurance, the #1 farm insurer in Wisconsin, is here for you even when the weather isn't. With crop hail damage, protect your operation from hail, fire, lightning, and more. Visit ruralmutual.com/farm.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Packers got under the salary cap when the new league year began yesterday by shaving off $5.5 million in salary from wide receiver Randall Cobb and not filing Devondre Campbell's new contract with the league. The two moves get them under the cap for now. Meanwhile, Sports Illustrated reports the team will not be re-signing punter Corey Bojorquez. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
We are back. The madness is about to get underway. We are 13 minutes away from the first game tipping off between Michigan and Colorado State. I think we are all rooting for Colorado State to get the win in this one as the tournament is about to go. The round of 64 will tip off here in 13 minutes. In the meantime, we welcome back to the program. We now go to our good buddy Pete Doherty of the Green Bay Press-Gazette, who is on hold, and I want to talk to Pete a little bit about this Packers team. Pete, how you doing?
Pretty good, Bill. How are you today?
I'm doing extremely well. Happy St. Patrick's Day, happy March Madness, and everything else that goes along with it. I'm really impressed with the fact that you're not drunk already, so I appreciate that, man.
St. Patrick's Day, that's my people, you know.
Yes, it is. I figured you'd show up. You'd be doing like an Irish, Lord of the Dance type of thing today, and we could hear the clicking in the background of the shoes. So I was waiting for that.
Well, work is ruining my social and fun life. So that's how that goes.
I get it. So let's first start off with the Rodgers contract. You and I have not talked since it became official. He was, very much saying that all the numbers were not the numbers, and clearly we find out that the numbers are the numbers. It comes out to about $50 million a year. Give me the best case scenario and the worst case scenario.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it and from whose perspective. It does look like, I mean, it's basically a 2 or 3 year deal, and it looks like chances are pretty good that those 2 or 3 years will be with the Packers. It sure looks like both teams or both sides, are looking to make this final push to see if they can get that elusive, Super Bowl. And Rodgers probably thinks this is his best chance with these guys, the Packers the same. But, if either side is dissatisfied with how things are going, if Love all of a sudden looks great this year, if Rodgers decides he wants to finish out somewhere, they can, with the way the contract's structured, they could part next year at this time. They could do a trade, if one side or the other wants it and the other side agrees to it. So, it's not like this guarantees he's going to be their quarterback for the next 2 or 3 years. But if you're betting, that's what you would guess is that he'll go 2 or 3 more years, and and then maybe that'll be it for him with the way he's talked about retirement. But you never know how these things are going to go. Look how much things change just in a year. A year ago, less than a year ago at this time last July, it looked like it was the end of the road for both for these sides, and now look where they are. So who knows how things will look come next February and March.
Then we talk about Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb, a lot of people, including myself, giving him a lot of credit for the fact that he took $5 million less. It wasn't a restructure. It was simply he just decided to take a pay cut to stay.
Well, I'm sure he didn't have much choice. Look, we all have our opinions on this stuff. This is obviously a move to keep Rodgers happy. I mean, Gutekunst even said last year that Cobb wouldn't have been there. They wouldn't have made that trade if it wasn't for Rodgers. Look, this is just me. I'm sure a lot of people might disagree. I wouldn't have brought him back even at the minimum. He was a really good player, but he's a small guy who's been hurt a lot, missed a lot of games in the last 4 or 5 years, including 5 last year. I just don't see him getting through the season healthy. I realize they're thin at receiver. He's something I would have kept tucked away in the back pocket, where if you need a receiver in the middle of the season, then maybe you go to him. I just don't see anybody else signing the guy, to be honest with you. I'd have moved on if I were them, gone with younger guys. When Cobb got hurt last year, he missed the last 5 games. Lazard caught 5 touchdown passes in those games. He only had 8 for the season, so he was way more productive. The older guys get in the way of younger guys developing. Now, the younger guys don't always develop, but you want to give them their shots, and the Packs are going to draft at receiver too. So, like I said, it's just me, but I'd have just moved on if I were them, except that they probably had to do it as part of the enticement, make that promise to Rodgers as part of the enticement to get Rodgers to come back.
So, well, I guess that puts me in a different question, but I agree with you. It tells me that one, Rodgers has a huge voice at the table. Two, the Packers are all in. How much money they're going to have to be able to spend from here on out to be even more in is yet to be seen. But can this team find a few? Because let's start with, they need another wide receiver besides Devontae. They need a tight end. They need I don't know whether it's going to be the growth of Amari Rodgers or somebody else, but they need some other weapons for Rodgers. Because I know people say, well, he did great. He was the MVP. Yeah, but you saw how he didn't go to anybody else but Devontae in the postseason for the last 2 years, and it's been detrimental to this team. So, and then you look at teams like Cincinnati, you look at teams like LA, they had 3-4 wide receivers going into Super Bowls. The Packers really had Devontae and a guy. So do they need another one or two good wideouts for Rodgers to say, I've got other options?
Sure, it would help a lot. The one kind of somewhat counter argument I'd say is, if you looked in the Super Bowl, the Rams got killed in injuries in that game. And they went out there, they finished that game after losing their running back too. They had one weapon, and that was it. That was Cooper Kupp. And they still got their touchdown when they needed it to win the game. But you're definitely right. They need more weapons. Amari Rodgers, that'll be really interesting to see if, he makes a jump this year after, what you can only be described as a really disappointing rookie season. They're going to have to draft. It's tough for rookie receivers to make a big impact. They're doing it more now than they did 5 or 10 years ago even. But it's not you can pick one high and he still might take a year to develop. But, I'm assuming I'm thinking they're going to add 2 receivers in the draft, one in the first couple rounds and then one sometime after that. So yeah, they need more weapons. Tunyon, even if they bring him back on the cheap coming off the ACL, I would assume he won't cost very much. He may not get on the field until the middle of the season and might not be much of a factor all year. So they definitely need help with weapons. They do have the 2 running backs, so that's kind of the backbone of their offense, that and the quarterback. So I can't disagree with you, and they could use a veteran guy, but they don't have a lot of money to work with, as we all know, especially until they can restructure or do an extension with Adams, which is, it's going to be a lot of hard work there. So yeah, they got work to do, but I think the bulk of it, maybe not all of it, but the bulk of it, they're just going to have to do in the draft.
Which I completely agree with. And I did Amari Rodgers, do we know, when you talk about a year last year that wasn't very impressive, was it just strictly for the fact that on the backside, he didn't get an opportunity because Randall Cobb took a lot of that?
Well, yeah. And Cobb got hurt and Amari Rodgers didn't play any more than he had before that. So I don't think we can, blame it all on the Cobb being there. Maybe that cost Rodgers playing time early. He didn't look real dynamic to me, as dynamic as advertised. Didn't look that explosive. Now, maybe a lot of it is, playing receiver in the NFL is a lot tougher than in college. The defenses are more complex. The reads you have to make on the run, the offenses and the route trees and the combinations are a lot more complex. So sometimes it does take these guys a year to develop. So that's, maybe he'll be much better. But I would be at least a little concerned if I were the Packers that he just didn't look super dynamic to me. He didn't look as dynamic as advertised.
So go to the punting situation. The Packers get the former Bears punter, Pat O'Donnell. They cut Corey Bojorquez. What are they trading here? Because I know Bojorquez was not the best holder in the world.
Yeah, I think they're just trading raw, natural, raw talent, raw kicking talent for dependability and holding, and a guy who's, punted for a long time in bad weather and held up okay. I have to assume that, I think Bojorquez was a really talented guy, and for the first half of the season, he was great. And then he really tailed off as the season went on, and then there are the holding issues to describe that you described. So, it's probably it's taking reliability over talent.
Then you go to the defensive side of the football. Devondre Campbell coming back. Za'Darius Smith gets cut. They still have to get something worked out with Jair. When do you think like the next big deal comes down? Is it more of a concentration on Devontae, or do you think it's more of a concentration to get Jair and that number down and then to sign him to a long-term deal?
I don't know what they're prioritizing internally is. I would guess they're working on both, and they're just trying to whichever one they can pop first, they'll do it. I think Russ Ball's got a lot of balls in the air right now, and they want the cap room sooner rather than later to do some of the things you're talking about, to bring in a veteran receiver, even if it's only $3 million or $4 million, or Devondre Campbell $2 million kind of guy even. Every dollar's counting with how cap strapped they are, and there are little deadlines along the way. If they need cap room to sign a guy, then that's a deadline. After the draft, they're going to sign all those guys. That's adding a lot of guys to the payroll. So that's another deadline. The deadline for extending Adams is mid-July. After that, they can't do it because he's on the franchise tag. So I'm just taking wild guesses here, but I'm thinking either Alexander or Adams gets done, before the draft, and maybe even sooner than that. I'm guessing, but I've guessed on a lot of this stuff before and been way off. I thought they do get Bakhtiari done way earlier than they did, and I thought last year they'd have Adams done before the regular season started. So take it for what it's worth.
Adams, I'm hearing wants upwards of $30+ million a year. Is it worth it?
Yeah, it gets so complex, Bill, with the way they can structure these contracts. And you can tack on seasons at the last two seasons and make the salaries really high, and so the average is really high, even though that's not what the guys really make. And what'll count is how much money he makes over the first 2 or 3 years and how much of it is guaranteed. I don't think that's going to need to be $30 million. I would think, mid to upper 20s would probably do it, but the guarantee might have to be huge. Julio Jones got $64 million fully guaranteed, and I'll bet Adams wants something in that range. The next highest is, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Williams from the Chargers, and that was $40 million guaranteed. So that's a 50% difference, going up to 60. But I'll bet Adams is pushing really hard to get something in that, something like Julio Jones got.
Yeah, I had heard that he was looking more towards the 100 million mark. And now I've heard that from two people now. I don't know if that was anything that you've heard, but that's kind of what I heard. And I thought, man, I don't know how, if you're the Packers, you can guarantee that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't imagine. Now, this is where all the language gets, all muddled, because there are full guarantees and there are injury guarantees. The injury guarantees aren't really very valuable because it has to be an injury that basically means you can't play the next season. That's pretty rare. So the full guarantee is what matters. So they might be throwing around 100 million guaranteed as, maybe including injury guarantees, but even getting, 64 million like Julio Jones for a receiver, that is way, way, way up there. That's left tackle. That's, quarterback, left tackle kind of money.
Before I let you go, so what else do you feel needs to be done for this team? Because I look, to lose Lucas Patrick, to cut Billy Turner, obviously David Bakhtiari coming back, Elton Jenkins, we're not even sure when he's going to be back. Is this offensive line a little bit of a concern as far as depth goes?
A little more now that when they cut Turner, I thought that they'd keep him and that they'd restructure his contract or do an extension, and they probably would have saved about the same amount of money. So they must feel good about Nyman. But yeah, it makes them thinner there. But they got a lot of needs, and free agency isn't going to help them much, if at all. I mean, I'm thinking, obviously receiver is a huge need, receiver/tight end. Defensive line is a really big need. I think outside linebacker is a big need too, because guys get hurt. You need pass rushers. They need another. They really don't have anybody behind their two starters, so they need help there. Corner, they need a third corner if they don't sign Douglas. The third corner is basically a starter, so they need somebody for that. They've got now tackle or offensive line. They've got a ton of needs, and they're going to need a draft like last year, where they got basically 2.5 legit starters in last year's draft. I mean, not just guys that you threw in there, but guys who deserve to be on the field. it's doable, but it's not easy. And they really could use another draft like that in 6 weeks or however far out we are from the draft.
Pete, great stuff as always, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk again soon, I'm sure, as things creep closer to the draft or as more deals are made with the Packers. Okay?
Yeah, lots going on always, Bill. So thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, pal. Talk to you soon. There you go. Pete Doherty, the Green Bay Press-Gazette, joining us for a couple of minutes on the hotline. This is it. Here we go. They are just seconds away. Oh, you know what that is for those watching on the Bud Light live stream? That is the first official sleeve of Girl Scout cookies, and the tip is in the air. The tournament is underway. Michigan and Colorado State. Michigan controls the opening tip. And I have opened the first pack of the Girl Scout cookies.
Come on. This is like the callers of the morning show. We're cracking beers into their phones.
Yep. Right there.
This
is
brutal.
That's it. First cookie. Girl Scout cookie going down. Thin Mint. It's open. The game is underway. The tournament's officially started. What a way to have a St. Patrick's Day get underway. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Colorado State on top of Michigan, 8-7. Love it. Tournament's underway. Girl Scout cookies have been breached. And I'm sitting here not with a alcoholic beverage in hand yet, but eventually today I will. Happy St. Patrick's Day to one and all. Welcome back to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. This portion of the program, by the way, brought to you by our good friends. If you're going to be heading to downtown tomorrow, heading down to the tournament, stop in and see our friend Gino over at San Giorgio, whether it's at San Giorgio, Napolitana Pizzeria, or Calderon Club. Before or after the game, best Italian food you're ever going to put in your grill, whether it's the spicy sausage. They won awards with their meatballs, as a matter of fact. But get the Bill Michaels. Either place, the Bill Michaels pizza, the Bill Michaels, the half and half, chicken marsala with the penne pasta. Do that. Get yourself it. They pair it up with Cider Boys, the cider from Point Brewing. So good stuff. Stop on over. Tell them we said hi. Say hi to Gino and the whole gang. And that is from our friends at Calderon Club and San Giorgio, downtown Milwaukee. If you're heading there before or after the games this weekend at the Fiserv Forum, if you're within the sound of my voice. Good stuff. And they pair that up with Cider Boys. Good stuff. Oh, making myself hungry. We're going there on Saturday, actually. Not during the mayhem that is the tournament, but we're going down there on Saturday. So looking forward to that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Tom says the crunching sound of a Thin Mint on the live stream. He says, merit badge worthy. I did. See, the thing about the live stream that you get is that during the commercial break, the microphone, unless I decide to turn it off, I leave it on. I don't care. I mean, people have heard conversations. They've heard phone calls. They've heard me screaming at people. Whatever. I don't care. I just leave the mic on. Otherwise, I forget to turn it back on. And I'm like, welcome back. And I'm talking to nobody. So I leave it on. So I was sitting here during the commercial break. Kristen had come up and started talking to me. And I'm watching the game. I got the game on in front of me. I'm eating Thin Mints. I've got a big glass of water. You're going to hear me chewing and swallowing and cheering and everything else that goes along with it. So I'm good with that.
Your guy, he choked.
Oh, my goodness. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Yes, I believe there is some incentive clauses in Randall Cobb's contract that if he reaches certain plateaus, he will make some additional money. But the base salary, he took a $5 million pay cut. And give him credit. I mean, he could have just said, I'm not going to. And then the Packers could have had to make a decision to cut him or not. And he wanted to continue to play. So he just said, I'll take less money. Because some people say, well, what choice did he have? Well, he had a choice that he could have been cut, but he wanted to keep playing. So in order to do so, he took less money. That's what his choice was, to play or not to play. And as Pete Doherty said, chances are people weren't going to pick him up. You wouldn't assume, but he wanted to keep playing. So what do? You take a pay cut, and he did. This is from Packer. Who is this? Packer Deray, Derayy, Packer Deray. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Packer Deray writes in our email inbox. He says, "Hey Bill, great day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy kickoff day to March Madness. I hope Michigan goes down. What about your Ohio State Buckeyes? Why did you pick them to lose? Go Badgers. I have them going to the Elite Eight." I just think that I like Loyola Chicago. I like the way they're playing down the stretch here. They played some good basketball. They just always seem to be extremely well coached. I've seen Ohio State play. One day they look really good. The next day they look awful. Nothing more than that. And they've never been thrilling when it comes to the tournament. So I'm good with that. That's the reason. I mean, it's not that I'm being anti-Homer or something like that. I went with my gut, and that's what I was feeling, so that's what I did. Nothing more dramatic than that. As far as the Badgers go, the Badgers would have to, in my opinion, get past Auburn. They get past Auburn, they get to the Elite Eight, they're good to go. And whether they face Iowa which I believe they can beat Iowa, or Kansas, which I believe they could beat Kansas. They could be a Final Four team. The scary thing about the Badgers is this. If they're hitting their shots, I think they're almost unbeatable. But they have not shot well all season long. They had that stretch in the middle of the season where they were hitting beyond the arc. They shot at one point beyond the arc for like a 4 or 5 game stretch where they were like over 40% beyond the arc. They were crazy. And you're like, wow, if they keep doing this all year, they're unbeatable. And when they hit their shots from the outside specifically, they are unbeatable. But then they came back crashing back down to earth. They're the worst 3-point shooting team. They're the worst shooting team in the Big Ten, but they get it done with their defense. Their defense creates transitional offense. They're able to get buckets. They're able to get to the free throw line. They're able to do many things because of their defense. They also, the one thing about their defense, is specifically a guy like Chucky Hepburn, it's not so much defending the shot. It's the ability to defend even taking a shot because the defense is so tight. They do tend to kind of work the clock, so to speak, when it comes to, teams trying to work the ball for an open look. The Badgers are that good at not allowing open looks. That's the reason defensively they play so well. 877-867-1670. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Ben. You're kind of the go-to Badger guy.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think their key really just lies in how is Johnny Davis playing. And it is a blessing that obviously they play a Colgate and then maybe a weaker LSU or Iowa State to maybe get him going. Because the last couple games have not been good and they've struggled because of that. But when they've beaten the best teams, it's because he's just gone crazy. And then the rest of the team succeeds as a result.
Right. Yep. No, I would agree with that. So do you agree they could lose to Colgate or they could go to the Final Four?
Now I talked about it this morning. I don't think there's any way they lose to Colgate. And it's dangerous how confident I am, but I think they cover 8 easily.
The only reason that Colgate could beat them is because they shoot so well from the outside. And if you have to play a game of catch up versus threes, they're not a good 3-point shooting team, which means they need to contend beyond the arc. They need to pick up, like I said, transitional defensive baskets and not get into a back and forth with 3-point shooting. And if it comes down to a last second shot, the team that is much more astute to take it would be Colgate rather than the Badgers. Correct?
Yeah. And they are a tremendous shooting team. However, I do think they play into Wisconsin's strengths perfectly. Wisconsin's really good at perimeter defense. Hepburn and Davison and Davis and even Wall are going to be really good at running Colgate off the line. Colgate just doesn't have a great big man. And that's where you beat this Wisconsin team is you get them in foul trouble. You get Crowell and Vogt off the court. And then that's when teams go on runs. And then on offense, Colgate is a horrendous defensive team. So I think Wisconsin will find a rhythm on offense. Usually that translates to defense afterwards, right? Because when the other team takes it out under the basket, they're able to get back and the defense gets better.
877-867-1670. The first game underway, Michigan taking on Colorado State. Colorado State up 16-11. And Michigan doing everything they can defensively to try to defend the shots. But Colorado State been a little bit better beyond the arc. And because they shoot, how do I put this? Because they shoot so well beyond the arc, but yet when they do shoot, some of their shots beyond the arc have just clanged off the rim. They've gotten those far out rebounds, and they've been able to out rebound Michigan so far offensively, and get some second chance opportunities. But 16-11 is where it stands right now. Just over 11 minutes to go in the first half of that contest. So there you have it. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Give us a shot. This is from Marv, who said, have you tried the Girl Scout Adventureful cookies yet? I have gone into the Thin Mints. Yes, they opened up just a few moments ago. When the tournament started, the Thin Mints came out flowing. Beyond that, nah, baby, nah. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
They don't repair cracked helmets, cracked teeth, or cracked stadium seats. They do repair cracked windshields. Complete auto glass, windshield repair and replacement, windshield camera recalibration, and more. an insurance preferred service provider with free price quotes and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Plus, you'll be happy to know you're dealing with a local, family-owned business who understand their Wisconsin neighbors. Complete Auto Glass, repair and replacement. Visit CompleteAutoGlass.com. Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. If you are going to be heading to the games tomorrow, or just maybe you're going to go downtown and watch the games today, maybe you're looking for a sports bar, plenty of places to go and watch the games within the area of my voice, so to speak. You can head to Curly's Waterfront Pub and Grill right in Pewaukee. They've got a lot of St. Patrick's Day stuff going on out there, a lot of specials, a lot of good green food, shall we say. They've got that. Stenny's downtown, 2nd and National, Walker's Point, terrific place, best wings you're ever going to put in your mouth. And they've got every game on in the tournament. Don't forget, also 3:30 Eastern time today, you've got Marquette getting underway. So they're going to have the Marquette game on with sound down at Stenny's. Also, if you're looking for a great place to relax, they're going to have some music tonight, pretty much all day from what I understand. But they're going to be the Nice Ash, 323 West Main Street, downtown Waukesha. Head down there. You can get a cigar. You get a hookah, good bourbon. They got tremendous bourbons, whiskeys, and some entertainment down there. The big plush leather chairs, so you can sit at the bar, the high top tables, whatever it happens to be. Just 3 terrific places that you can find yourself in some point today or over the weekend as you're going to watch the NCAA tournament games, listen to some good music. You're good to go. That's all of our good friends. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Andrew says, what are your thoughts on the Milwaukee Brewers? I'm saying 97 wins. Boy, that'd be great. They get 97 wins. I think anything above 95, they win the division anyway. But I don't think, now, as much as St. Louis is a 90-win team, I think the Brewers are even better. A lot of this is going to depend on what they get out of that pitching staff again this season. Can they come close to doing what they did last year? Because if they can, I mean, it's almost a runaway. But I look at I look at the Brewers as they just have, they're set on the infield. I'm not a fan at first base, but for the most part, the only weak position on this team is first base. That's the only one that I can see. Other than that, I think they're pretty solid with some veteran leadership when it comes to the DH. I think their outfield has a ton of potential. I think their pitching staff is tremendous. Getting Boxberger back is huge. They've got middle relief capability. So I don't think there's any reason not to think that they're one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the National League. Don't forget, coming up after the top of the hour, we're going to talk with Rick Schlessinger, VP of Business Affairs for the Milwaukee Brewers. So he's going to answer some questions in regards to tickets, new things going on at the ballpark, opening day, home opener, all that kind of good stuff. Don't forget our home opener. We're going to be down at Stenny's. Our broadcast that day down there. So come on by. And you can take the shuttle down to American Family Field. Come on down, join us in the morning for the broadcast, get yourself some good food, head off to the stadium, go enjoy the game, then head back to Stenny's. Looking forward to it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. And got what is this? At what point do the Packers feel that too much money has been spent on some of the players that they have purchased? I think the contracts are too large. At what point do you look at this team and say, we have to start over? That's from Lenny. Lenny, you're going to do that. You're going to start over in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But why rush it? Why rush starting over? If you have the capability over the next 2 years to really be again in the thick of things, because you're not going to have, I can't express this enough. Okay. For those that want to go and tear it down and start over, what is your thought process? What is the reality you're looking for? But I don't understand it. In theory, it sounds great. But that's if you hit on a quarterback. It is a quarterback-driven league. The rules have been geared towards the offense. It's not the same as if you could just go out and buy the 85 Bears defense, have them play the same way, and all of a sudden you're going to win a championship with Jim McMahon under center. Those days are gone. It's not going to happen. You have to have a premier offense, a really good quarterback, and a strong defense. The rules just don't govern the defense anymore. You can't club a guy going over the middle. You can't slam quarterbacks to the ground. You can't intimidate anymore. The only thing you can do is rush the quarterback. That's it. You can't hit a guy going across the middle. You can't pummel wide receivers. None of that. You can't do that anymore. So you have to have a good quarterback. And the likelihood of this team finding another well above average to Hall of Fame level quarterback is astronomically high. The odds would be. It's not easy. It's not going to happen. And let's be honest, there's not anybody sitting out there right now that suddenly is going to develop into this unbelievable quarterback. Tom Brady isn't there. So why rush it? That's what I don't understand. Why force that hand? And let's be honest, if you're going to piece it all together, let's just say you do get rid of Rodgers and you build this tremendous defense. Well, you're going to have to pay those guys. And you're still going to have a pretty good, solid payroll when it comes to all of that, because you got to go find yourself. You're not going to just draft 7 guys this year who are all going to become Pro Bowlers. Right? You hope to get 2 or 3 starters out of that mix, maybe 1 Pro Bowler a year. But by the time that all comes to fruition, you still have to go out and find key components to pay to come into your organization and say, sure, we're coming in to win. Then you got to have a quarterback to lead them. Don't force the situation before you absolutely positively have to. And let's be honest, it's not your money. It's not my money. So it's not like you and I are suddenly saving money for a rainy day. That ain't happening. Spend the money, do the best you can, hope you get the best players, and hope that the quarterback that you have can lead you. So until Rodgers is ready to either he's so broken down you have to trade him, or he just retires, I'm not forcing him out the door. You got to take all the other issues. You got to take all the other issues with it, but you hang on to him because he gives you the best chance to win. And hopefully you catch lightning in a bottle, you put the right pieces around him, and next thing you know, you're off and running and you get a win. I don't understand the need to force him out the door to start over. Why? This whole thing about building around Jordan Love, all the Jordan Love that was out there, where get rid of Rodgers, take all the money, put it around Jordan Love. Everybody's had a chance to see that. He's not the guy. He's not the guy. And again, going back to the days of Joe Flacco and Trent Dilfer, and again, you're talking light years ago. Even though it wasn't that long ago in history, the rules continue to change in favor of the offense. The NFL loves scoring. So maybe you save 20 million on payroll. Maybe you roll some over eventually, whatever. But you're still not getting to a championship, as opposed to what the possibility could be. But I'm with you. Look, hey, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't care about the regular season this year. With the way the Packers are pushing all their chips to the middle of the table, this is about a championship. This is about getting to a Super Bowl. Can I stop here for a second? Can I ask a question out loud? Nobody in the arena, none of the fans, none of the players, none of the coaches have to wear masks. Why do the cheerleaders have to wear masks? Ben, do we have an answer to that?
I don't think I have the answer to
I mean,
that.
even the band, when the band is not playing their instruments, has to wear a mask. Can anybody explain this to me? Nobody on the bench, nobody covering it, none of the sideline people, nobody at the timer's table. And I'm sitting here watching this game. None of the fans, nobody, but everybody in the band section, everybody in the cheerleading squad has to wear a mask. Can anybody explain to me why? Is that a rule, or is this just something that they take upon themselves? Because if it's a rule, it has to be the biggest horse's ass that made this rule up on the face of the earth.
Could still be the school's rule.
Because I've noticed it now. Like last night, I noticed it again. And I just saw a shot of the Colorado State cheerleaders, and they're all wearing these glitter masks, but they're all in masks. I don't understand it. Like nobody on the team, the fans are literally a row behind the team. They're on top of the fans are on top of the team. Nobody's in masks anymore. I have no idea. No idea why.
Bet Colorado State money line. I'm more perplexed at the fact that Michigan looks awful.
Oh, Michigan looks terrible. Colorado State, by the way, 22-13.
It's great. Once you realize that Hunter Dickinson, number one, the big man, literally only goes left, like in NASCAR, how you literally only can turn left. That's all he does. Once you realize that, it's like you just, your eyes are open to how simple and not great that team is.
Jay says Colorado's a pro-mask state, but that doesn't tell me why the cheerleaders for Michigan are in masks. I'm just asking a question. And I people are saying, Colorado's a pro-mask state. I get it. I understand it. But it was the same way last night for Rutgers and Notre Dame. Same day, same way. And Indiana's as wide open gets. So the Notre Dame cheerleaders the same. I don't understand why I'm just asking a question here, because it just seems as stupid gets. I don't care. It doesn't affect me one way or the other. So it's not like I need to get over it. I'm just asking a question. I just don't understand it. Let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Catch all the racing action at Road America. Camping and corporate events available as well. Go to roadamerica.com for all the information. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you back. Bill Michaels Show. Letting you know that if you're going to be looking for anything as the season starts to change and we get into warmer weather, when it comes to your boat cover, interior, maybe you've got some office furniture floating around during the pandemic, you want to get recovered, and rather than going out and buying all new, a great way to save some money, great way to get things repaired and get it done right. Our buddy Dwayne at Dwayne's Cover It All in Wausau, Wisconsin's best canvas upholstery, even boat cover provider. Call my buddy Dwayne, 715-870-2119, 715-870-2119. Glad to have you. Our good friends, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That's Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. This is from Lewis. Lewis says, hey, Bill, was that you out at Boondocks last weekend? Yes, it was, as a matter of fact. He said, my wife and I watched you walk in. I wasn't sure if that was you or not. I didn't want to bother you and your girlfriend while you guys were having dinner, but wanted to let you know, great show, and glad to see you out at Boondocks. Hopefully you're back there real soon. First of all, never have a problem if you want to come over and say hello. Never. Come on over, say howdy. Who knows? Maybe we buy you a beer, or you sit down, have dinner. Who knows? But no, we had a great time. Had a lot of fun. The pulled pork was fantastic. The nachos with the chicken were very good. I'm not a big fan of smoked chicken on my nachos. It was pretty good, though. I liked it. But they had some cheesecake after the fact. Oh, that was good. I don't know if it was strawberry or raspberry, but whatever they put on it, man, that stuff was good. It was gone in a heartbeat. I'll tell you that. I don't even think I tasted it. But the pulled pork sandwich, the mac and cheese with the bacon and all that stuff in it, oh, it was all good. The crinkle cut fries, they had me at crinkle cut fries. I don't know what it is, but I don't know why crinkle cut tastes different. It just does, and I love crinkle cut fries. I love it. Now, you can take the potato and go and put it in that machine that just basically splits it into fries and dump it right into the fryer. And then whatever those salts and juices and such are, they get kind of sealed into that potato. And those fresh cut fries are really good. But the crinkle cut, there's something about it, man. Had a good time at Boondocks. Got to get them on as a sponsor. Anytime you stop at a place, you eat at it, you believe in it. Yeah, you could do that. You can talk about it. Jake says, hey, Bill, love the program. What are your thoughts on the Packers going after another free agent wide receiver and then getting two more in the draft? They would stockpile the talent, but would Rodgers actually throw to them? He has to. If indeed Pete Doherty and the rest of us kind of believe that the window's open for the next 2 years, you can't just say it's you and Devontae anymore. You can't do this horse crap answer of, well, it's going to take some time. You don't have time. Yeah, that's why I don't care about the regular season. If you get to the postseason, do the same damn thing again, I will crucify you. I will crucify you. Now, maybe it'll be just me and I'll be a voice in the wilderness, but I will crucify you. You cannot do the same thing again. Don't care about the regular season. You can give Devontae 500 catches, 40 touchdowns. I don't care. When it comes to the postseason, if he's not open and you have somebody who is, and you pass that person up, to wing it downfield to Devontae, and you cost your team a shot to advance or, God forbid, get to a Super Bowl, I'll go nuts. I don't care about the regular season. I don't care this whole thing about trust, and I get it. You have to be able to trust your guy. But for the most part, no, there's no more of that. No more of that. It's time to just say, hey, I got to go out and play. And if I'm that good a quarterback, put in a place where they can catch it, let them catch it. Let them catch it. Let them catch it until Matt LaFleur pulls them off the field and sits them. Because you look at him and say, kid, you got stone fingers. You'd be better off picking your nose than catching a football. Get out of here. And then you make a change. Because we'll know. We'll know. I'd rather have Rodgers go down making the right decision and throwing to an open receiver and putting it right in his hands than throwing into triple coverage and watching the season tumble to the turf. You know what I mean? Just my opinion, but that's what I would do. Some news coming out of San Francisco. I don't know if you saw this, but Steph Curry out indefinitely. Ben, did you see this?
I saw it pass by.
Yeah, Steph Curry out indefinitely. He has got a strained ligament in his ankle. A strained ligament in his ankle after going down last night, had a MRI, and it revealed a strained ligament. And anytime they say strained, it basically means partially torn. That's what a strain is. You partially tear something. You stretch it too far to where it begins to break apart a little bit. So a strained ligament in his ankle after going down last night, out indefinitely again. A sprained ligament in his left ankle, left foot, and he's going to be out indefinitely. That's big news in the NFL or in the NBA. They were pretty much rolling. All they were trying to do is just stay healthy down the stretch. When we come back, we're going to be talking to the VP of Business Affairs for your Milwaukee Brewers, Rick Schlessinger, talking some Brewers baseball. Stay tuned. We got more coming up after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers have a new punter. The team has reportedly agreed to terms with former Chicago punter Pat O'Donnell on a 2-year contract. That, according to ESPN, spent the last 8 years with the Bears, who replaced Corey Bojorquez, who the team let walk in free agency. Meanwhile, more is coming to light on how the Packers got below the salary cap prior to the new league year starting yesterday. According to ESPN, the team restructured the contracts of wide receiver Randall Cobb and safety Adrian Amos, freed up about $10.5 million in cap space, and has them sitting roughly $5 million under the cap. But most of that's going to go to the new contract for linebacker Devondre Campbell, as well as O'Donnell's contract. The team could free up more with new contracts for wide receiver Devontae Adams and quarterback Jair Alexander. Several of the team's own free agents have signed elsewhere. That included guard Lucas Patrick signing with the Bears. Also, linebacker Zadarius Smith, who the Packers cut, has returned to where his career started with the Ravens in Baltimore. And turning to the Brewers, they are just a day away from their first spring training game against the Dodgers down in Arizona.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, Wisconsin going to hold an open practice at Fiserv Forum later today as the third-seeded Badgers prep for their matchup with 14th-seeded Colgate tomorrow night. Raiders come in winners of 15 straight, while the Badgers 8-0 all-time against seeds 13 or lower. Tip tomorrow set for around 8:50. Meanwhile, Marquette going to take on North Carolina this afternoon in Fort Worth in their first-round matchup. And the Bucs beat Sacramento 135-126 last night. Giannis Antetokounmpo 36 points. Chris Middleton 32. They'll be at Minnesota on Saturday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show. The tournament's underway. St. Patrick's Day is underway. Lockout is over. You've got Brewers baseball coming on the air this weekend, and I can't wait personally. I'm so looking forward to it. Don't forget our opening day broadcast is going to be live at Stenny's. They're going to be running shuttles to and from American Family Field for the Milwaukee Brewers home opener, and cannot wait to get the season started. To do even more, to talk about it even more, our good friend, first time on the program since the new network began, our good friend Rick Schlessinger, the president of business operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. Rick, how you doing?
Hey, Bill, thanks for having me on. It's a historic day. It's my first appearance on your show in the new system.
I'm loving having you here, man. It's been far too long. So first of all, the finally get the lockout out of the way and moving forward. What do we have to look forward to? Anything new at American Family Field this upcoming season?
Yeah, we actually have been doing a lot of reimagination of our concessions, and so details to follow shortly. But I think fans are going to see some really great upgrades to the type of food and beverages that we're going to be offering, and underline beverages, and especially for those who are 21 and older. So we've done some really good things. We've been itching to get them done because in the lockout we obviously we're trying to navigate through work stoppage and all that, but we're excited that we're finally having the games and finally able to to showcase all the new F&B stuff that we're doing.
I thought it was interesting. I was talking about this a little bit earlier because you guys went through a season with no fans, and then last year you didn't get fans back until maybe after the first month and a half of the season, and it was partial, and then finally you got back into the swing of things. So for a small market team who relies so much on the gate, the fact that you went out, you spent some money in the offseason, it's been interesting. How is the team, and I don't want to say give us your finances, but how is the team financially right now as you begin to move forward through not only some of the improvements to American Family Field, but obviously you look at payroll too in that situation?
Yeah, it was a pretty brutal last few years. There's no question, with no fans and then obviously restricted attendance in 2021. And as you said, we rely heavily on admissions revenue. So to have restrictions on that was obviously harmful, but we're in really good shape. We sort of, have relationships with our partners who are great in supporting the team. We have great relationships with bankers who are obviously supportive. And frankly, from our perspective, we're really well positioned to stretch payroll as we did with the signing of McCutchen. And again, as Mark always says, if there are opportunities between now and the start of the season, or frankly during the season, he's going to pounce on them. Team's in really good shape from a competitive perspective, and I think this is a really good year that we're going to expect and from the team, and it requires funding it. And Mark and ownership group are 100% committed behind it.
Rick, I'm going to go to baseball on you here for a second. I've been saying for a while now, I think you guys are going to win the Central, but watching the fire sale take place in Cincinnati, another small market team, the rebuild that's trying to be attempted in Pittsburgh, watching what's gone on in Chicago, winning this division running away last year, you got to feel good where you sit right now and what you guys have done versus everybody else in the division.
Yeah, it's interesting because certainly we look at the Cardinals as always a formidable opponent. They always seem to figure out a way to do it. Last year when they win 17 in a row, and they figured out the Cubs are an interesting team. Frankly, I mean they've stripped some people, but they have some good core, and they just signed the player from Japan. I think they're an interesting team. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, they're certainly in a rebuild mode. But it's interesting. You know this. You've been around sports for so long. You know when you still got to beat the teams, regardless of what their talent level is, and you end up seeing so many times that a team sometimes takes a team of lesser talent for granted, and then they lose. And in baseball, you see that all the time. So if you talk to Craig and David Stearns, they don't look at anybody in our division as just a rollover opponent. They, in any given day, you can face a hot pitcher or a hot hitter. I like our chances in the Central. I think we have a great talented team, probably the most talented team since I've been here, and dominated by incredible pitching. So, you stay healthy, you get people to perform, and I think we should be in very good shape this year.
Talking with Rick Schlessinger, the president of business operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. I do got to ask you about that article I saw in the Journal Sentinel, and I just want you to touch on that a minute. But there are renovations that you guys would like to do to American Family Field, and the possibility, at least it made it seem like the possibility of asking the public for funding on this could be very, very real. There was this, kind of shadow of could this Milwaukee Brewers team leave? And then it kind of sent a little bit of a shockwave through some people. So just explain that and what is on the horizon, or what you're looking for on the horizon for this franchise.
Sure. Yeah. I newspaper articles, sometimes, put out there things that are somewhat true, somewhat speculative. I have actually a lot of respect for the Tom Dakin, the writer. But the reality is we want to be here long term. Our lease is to 2040, 2030. We want to be here past that and be here for the next generation of fans. I think everybody wants that. We want that. So that's all of what we're trying to do. We have a lease with the stadium district, and the stadium district has been a very, very good landlord and a very good partner with us in keeping the ballpark state-of-the-art, fresh, up-to-date. The ballpark is well-maintained. Anybody that comes to American Family Field will tell you that it is one of the jewel ballparks in the country. And we just want to make sure that the stadium district, has enough funds to meet all of its existing obligations under the lease. And we're not looking to expand those obligations, or we're not looking for the district to do things it's not contractually required to do. We're always at the same time investing in, millions of dollars annually in the ballpark as well, as to make it as more fan friendly as possible. But if there is a shortfall with what, the lease requires the district to fund between now and 2040, and what the district has, obviously we're going to need, a public contribution. And the form of that is to be determined. Doesn't make sense to start thinking about that until we know that there is a shortfall in the amount of it. What I've told everybody is, there is no return to the 5-county tax. That is not going to happen. The 5-county tax was retired, and we'll look to other solutions. And again, our goal, we want to be here for the next generation. I'm very comfortable saying that we'll do that, and I'm also very comfortable saying that we'll figure out a solution that involves, everybody, the public, or the politicians, the ballpark, the business community, everything.
What plans are there additionally for American Family Field? I love the microbrews and such down the first base line. I love all the different foods that have been kind of put throughout the park. The fact that you've enhanced the giant screen, everything looks to be, like you said, I was talking about this earlier today. It's one of the most well-maintained parks I've ever been to. And some of them are built, they're brand new and they're already dirty. So kudos to the staff that take care of American Family Field. But what else, what kind of future plans do you say, okay, we'd like to do this? I mean, I know ribbon boards were put up at one point. What else would you like to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, we're always looking at, what projects we can develop and build and create for the fan experience. And we've got, probably 20 to 25 different projects that we're thinking about for the next 5 years that the club would do. One thing I want to make sure that people understand, what we're looking from the district is not to fund, projects that the team should be funding, but basically there's the entire infrastructure of the ballpark, the boilers, the chillers, the seats, the structural steel, the concrete, the basic boards, the whole infrastructure, the roof. Those are the kind of things that we want to make sure the district has enough money to fund. And then there's other provisions in the lease, whether changes in government regulations or Major League Baseball requirements or upgrades that are implicating us with other ballparks. All that stuff is, again, district obligations. We just want to make sure there's enough money there. But we have so many designs of our own that we would fund on our own. And my job is to take, the 20 to 25 ideas crystallize them into 5, 6, 7 ideas, go to ownership and say, let's do it, and then get these things off the ground and get them successful. So no shortage of ideas from our team and from outside consultants and architects and designers. The challenge will be how do we pick from some really good ideas to ones that we can do in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Start times in Major League Baseball, they changed that a little bit this year. Can you explain why?
Well, the start times, I mean, there's our opening day, April 14. We originally, that was going to be not opening day, and it was originally a 6:40 p.m. start. So we said, let's have some fun with it. Let's have it start at 4:14,
which I love.
Obviously makes sense given it's 414 day and it's April 14. But from our perspective, we'll be more traditional and more consistent with our game times that fans are used to. In April and May, midweek, we're looking, for 6:40 starts. Once it hits summer, 7:10 starts. Sundays are always going to be 1:10 starts. Saturdays, usually 6:10. There'll be a few oddities in the schedule. We've got a very unusual traditional doubleheader against the Giants September 8th. So fans, for one price, will be able to see 2 games. And that'll be a different start time than normal. So there'll be a few little oddities. But again, just because we're trying to compact 162 games, in a shortened time frame, there has been a little bit of juggling in the schedule, but nothing that I think will be too disconcerting to the fans.
Rick Schlessinger, president of business operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. Real quick before I let you go, opening day, the home opener. Give us the timing of everything when it comes to opening up the lots and everything that we should be expecting on that particular day.
Yeah, gates open, 2 hours before first pitch. So 2:14, gates will open. First pitch is 4:15. The lots generally open 3 hours before. What we try to do is if we see a lot of lines of fans coming in, we'll try to open the lots earlier. I don't want, a lot of traffic on 94 right. and causing any consternation. And it's interesting, Bill, the earlier the crowd arrives is really a function of the weather. If it's nice and sunny, you have a lot of tailgaters, they're going to come earlier. If it's rainy or cloudy or cold, you sort of have a little bit of a late arrival. So if people want to know what's going to happen with, gates and locks and, with the parking lots, probably check the weather forecast. It would be fun to have the roof open. May not be possible on April 14 because you sometimes get snow in this stage,
mm-hmm.
but it will be flexible. But yeah, the traditional is 2 hours for first pitch for opening day, and the lots to the parking areas open 3 hours before first pitch.
Hey, Rick, real quick, and I apologize, one more question, but it's important to get, and people are talking about why do spring training, why have fans, because so many teams have had these renovations or have had new ballparks built, and they're in all these different towns, specifically out in Arizona. You guys just went through a major restructure and a refacing of American Family Fields of Phoenix. You have a debt there. Spring training has become important as a revenue generator. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously dwarfed by what we, generate in regular season. But, spring training games clearly are tradition. That's sort of the fabric of baseball. Spring training has been around since, the 20s. And it's fun to see the games in a more relaxed environment. You're closer to the action. It's more intimate. You get to see some players play that you may not see in the major leagues, but it's still fun. So, for our perspective, and also the players, they want to be in game ready condition. And the best way to do that is actually to play games. So it's sort of a tradition of baseball that I don't see ever going away. And we need the players in shape. This year is a little condensed spring training, but in a normal environment, we'd have 15 home games. This year we have 9. And we have a longer spring training. But again, we're going to be pivoting and be a little more nimble this year with what we're dealing with in the schedule.
Rick, great to have you on. Can't wait to see you guys down at the ballpark and kind of get back to the sense of normalcy. I cannot wait for it. I appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you for having me on, Bill.
Absolutely. There you go. Rick Schlessinger, president of business operations for your Milwaukee Brewers, kind of giving you a lowdown as to everything going on at American Family Field. And, again, very specific in that article. It kind of gave you the sense that there could possibly be a tax. There could possibly be some public funding. There could possibly be the return of some of that. He very emphatically said, no, that is not it. That's not what we're doing. And it is only if there would be a shortfall to the stadium funding tax, that pot of revenue that is sitting there, that pot of money that is sitting there, that we would then need to kind of come to some type of an agreement for any renovations and or infrastructure upgrades to American Family Field. And they are working towards, as he said, a longer-term lease and extending that lease. Now, granted, they can use that for leverage. I don't doubt that. But that's one of the reasons I wanted him on, because it left some vagary there. And I wanted to make sure you understood what it is the Brewers side of things were when it came to what they wanted to do. And like you mentioned, the roof, the infrastructure, but some of the things we don't see. You know, when I even walk through like the bowels of that place where a lot of people don't normally go, it's clean. I mean, it's unbelievable. You look at the metal, the actual girders, the bones of the building, and they all look great. But then, like he said, you've got a lot of things that you don't see. Those giant infrastructure when it comes to the cooling systems for the beers and the taps and the tap rooms and everything down below, the stuff that's hidden behind walls. You don't get a chance to see all that stuff like that might have to be replaced. Certain things for beautification. Obviously, the parking lots will eventually need some repair. Those are going to start to kind of show signs of weather and wear. It's just a lot of those things that we don't normally think about, you think about. So it was a good explanation. Good to get him on, and really looking forward to baseball being back. And obviously, double headers. Got some double headers coming back this year. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of those back-to-backs where you get about 30 minutes in between games, and you're right back at it. You go up, you get your beverage. You're kind of full because you had that giant pretzel and a hot dog before, but then you've kind of gotten your second win. You go back for that other beer. Yeah, not a bad way to go. Get into some of that stuff. Looking forward to it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, feel free to go ahead and do so. Hey, if you're going to go out in the back, maybe you're going to do tailgating in style. Get yourself an RV from our friends at Kunis RV. Kunis RV, they are Wisconsin's fastest growing and continue to grow RV dealer in the state of Wisconsin and just beyond the borders as well. In the region, that is. They've got all the different brands: Jayco, Alliance, Coachman, Dutchman, Forest River, Gulfstream, Nexus, Thor, Heartland, Crossroads, Keystone, Winnebago, so much more. They've got them all. If you're looking for a motorhome, a fifth wheel, a camper van, travel trailer, Kunis RV got you covered. No problem. Kunes, Kunis, Kunes. That's Kunis RV. Stop into one of their many dealerships throughout the state and just beyond the borders. Take advantage of some of the great deals they have, and interest rates are starting to go up. So now's the time. If you're going to do it, do it. And they offer top dollar for trades, and they even take consignments. All that good stuff from our friends at Kunis RV. Go to Kunis, Kunes, KunisRV.com. That is KunisRV.com. Tell them we sent you. If you go down to the one down in Elkhorn, get a hold of my buddy Scott. He's a GM down there. Say Bill sent me in. Show me something. Show me what you got. Cut me a deal. And they'll do it by all means. And hands down. Great people to work with. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Now, Gina Della from Pella, Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, with some choice words.
Oh, do I have some choice words? One window line fits all? Where's the choice in that? Sounds more like take it or leave it, to which I say leave it and choose Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Talk about choices. Others may have one or two window lines, but with Pella, you'll choose from Pella's 6 lines to suit your taste and budget. 2 lines of energy efficient, budget-friendly vinyl windows, Pella Impervia, the strongest material for windows, to 3 lines of luxurious wood windows, traditional to contemporary. Speaking of choices, right now choose 18 months no payments and no interest, or $300 off each window, $700 off a Pella entry system, and $1,000 off a patio door. Whatever you choose, just be sure to book your choices by March 31st. Set your free consultation now at PellaWI.com.
Restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Colorado State up on Michigan, 36-29 at the half. Elsewhere in college hoops, you've got 31-23 over Providence right now over South Dakota State. Coming up later on this afternoon, 3:30 Central Time, Marquette takes on number 8 North Carolina. Coming up here in just a few, you're going to get underway Boise State and Memphis. Then you've got Baylor, the number 1 seed in the East Regional, taking on Norfolk State. You've got Longwood in Tennessee. The Richmond Spiders taking on the Iowa Hawkeyes at 2:10. You've got Gonzaga in the West Regional, the number 1 seed, taking on Georgia State at 3:15. And it kind of goes on from there all the way through the rest of the evening. And it's exciting. I love it. I love this time of year. Can't say it enough. So I got all that coming up. Here's one other piece of interesting news. I don't know if you saw this, but Colin Kaepernick has reached out to Pete Carroll. Colin Kaepernick reached out to Pete Carroll and said he wants to play. Obviously, Seattle is a team where they're kind of looking for a quarterback. Carroll said Kaepernick may or may not get an opportunity in Seattle. He said, I don't know if it's here. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's even in football. I don't know, Pete Carroll said. People get a second opportunity in their lifetime, and they can make the most of it if they're ready for it. I don't mean to send out any mixed messages about that, but I wanted you to understand that's how serious this is. It's a second chance opportunity. But Colin Kaepernick getting some run from Pete Carroll on the possibility of coming back and playing. So, and, you know, they always show the annual, like Puxatawny Phil coming out of his hole to see his shadow. You've got Colin Kaepernick working out at some high school or college football field or practice field, running around, throwing passes, and seeing if he still has it in some way, shape, or form. And he always looks good. He's always in shape, and people always say he's ready to play. But we'll see. We'll see if he gets another opportunity to go somewhere else. What else? Ben, what do you have? What did you say? You got an interesting tweet?
So it's big time Twitter sleuth hours right now.
Okay.
Kyle Pitts, tight end from the Falcons. He was a rookie last year. Tweeted about 20 minutes ago, quote, "It's about to get scary in Atlanta." And for what it's worth, he and Deshaun Watson share an agent. Now, the Falcons signed Casey Hayward like an hour and a half ago. And then Pitts said that, oh, yeah, I was talking about Casey Hayward, though many online are connecting the dots because apparently the Falcons are on the radar for Watson. So many are.
They are. And yeah, the Cleveland Browns, by the way, announced they're out of the running for Deshaun Watson. It's interesting because the way I understand it, I was reading the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and D. Orlando Ledbetter, who used to write for the Journal Sentinels down there, I was kind of corresponding with him. He says that Arthur Blank, the owner, it's not that he's had it with Matt Ryan. It's just they want an upgrade. They believe Deshaun Watson could be an upgrade. And now what they would do if they would make a trade and send Matt Ryan there, or how that would work, we would have to wait and see. But they very much are in the running for Deshaun Watson, that he could be the next, kind of coming there. And they know there's going to be some disciplinary action via the NFL, but they believe that he could be their future. So, but very much the reason they've been so emphatic about reaching out has been the fact that Arthur Blank, the owner of the Atlanta Falcons, has taken an interest in him. So we know that Seattle, who has probably the most to offer, Seattle's interested, other teams are interested, but Atlanta, kind of as a dark horse, very quietly snuck into this thing, and they have planted their flag on Deshaun Watson. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Did you see the Baker Mayfield novel yesterday?
The Goodbye to Cleveland?
Yeah.
Yeah. He even said, I don't know what's ahead for me. But I think he believed that that he was gone. I think he really believed it. Now, I don't know what happened between yesterday and today, but Cleveland has pulled their name from that Deshaun Watson, foray, so to speak.
I read that they were informed that they were out of the running.
Oh, were they? Okay. Well, then that's it. Then maybe he just didn't want to go there. Remember, Deshaun Watson has a no trade clause. So he may have said, hey, I don't want to go there. So that might have ended it. So maybe they did not pull themselves out. Maybe they were informed that you're right. Maybe they were just informed that that's not a place that he wants to go and play. Especially after they gave up, then again, they got Amari Cooper. It's not like they're bereft of talent there to throw to. And their defense is okay. They need to bolster it a little bit more, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, they're out of the running. So it's going to be Baker Mayfield's team again.
All this quarterback movement and terrible quarterbacks in the draft. You really think nobody would come and give a 2 for Jordan Love with the points we've reached?
That's only if the Packers are truly shopping him. You know what I mean? You don't have to. You still got him on a contract for a couple more years. So you don't have to shop him. If somebody says, hey, that's the guy we were interested in. Let me say this. If nobody's chasing Jordan Love, once Aaron Rodgers signed, unless the Packers said, don't call us, Jordan Love is not up for sale. If nobody's calling, what does that say? Nobody wanted him to begin with. Now, I don't know if the phone's ringing or not. I'm not inside Brian Gutekunst's office. But if nobody's calling, and you would assume that, somebody would have an agent, or somebody would have said, yeah, hey, they have an interest in this guy. David Dunn might have said, hey, there's an interest in Jordan Love, even though he's also Aaron Rodgers' agent. Maybe somebody would have said, hey, there's an interest in my guy, just to create a buzz, something. But there is no Jordan Love talk on the open market. None.
Part of me thinks it might wait for the Watson domino to fall. Because like we saw after Rodgers came back, there were all the dominoes that fell there with Wilson and Wentz and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks once Watson goes somewhere, maybe Jimmy G too, then we'll get to that point.
By the way, Colorado State still up 3 on Michigan as Michigan has closed the gap. Colorado State kind of succumbing to the pressure of Michigan right now defensively and taking some ill-advised shots, firing it up from way outside consistently and not hitting. and that has allowed Michigan to kind of climb back into this. So Michigan 3 points down to Colorado State as it stands right now, but we are all, as we all know, rooting against Michigan and Juwan Howard. I just would like to see him start hitting their shots again from the outside and then move on. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, do so. Jay Nelson says regarding Randall Cobb, yeah, because he was told to take the cut or he'd be cut. No, he wasn't. He made room. Yeah, he could be cut. You're right. If he wanted to keep playing, he could be cut. You're right. But he wasn't going to be cut. He's Aaron Rodgers' guy. He did take the best option, but he didn't have to. That's just it. You can say options are dictated by circumstance. I understand that. And Cobb may not have been picked up by anybody else, but he's Rodgers' guy. He's Rodgers' guy, and he wasn't going anywhere. And he wanted to look at it this way. You can be cut and never play again. Or you can go to the team and say, hey, I'll take a pay cut. I want to continue to play. It's what I do. It's what I love. It's what I want to be a part of. Aaron's my guy. He wants me here. I'll take a pay cut to stay. Of course. He does have options. He could have taken millions of dollars and went home. Never played again. But he didn't. So you can make fun of it all you want. You can be a jag about it all you want. But he took a pay cut. And that's what matters. 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Play the Coca-Cola Scratch game in your Quick Rewards app, and you could win a new Chevy Tahoe, loaded with modern flair, premium touches, and impressive power. From Quick Trip, earn extra scratches for every Quick Trip take-home meal, 20-ounce Coca-Cola or Smart Water purchase, a freshly prepared take-home meal with a refreshing Coke, and a chance to win a Tahoe. Now that's a match made in heaven. Enter to win today. Download the Quick Rewards app. No purchase necessary. See quicktrip.com/sweepstakes for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Looking. If you are going to do some corned beef and cabbage, now you probably went and picked it up yesterday because it's probably been sitting in the slow cooker for a while now. As a matter of fact, my house smells like it top to bottom. I mean, you open the door to the studio, it comes wafting in. But if you're going to get any kind of great, whether it's corned beef or you're going to be looking for ribs or chicken, turkey, steaks, different cuts. Oh, yeah. Robert's Specialty Meats in Waukesha. Go to robertspecialtymeatswaukesha.com. That is robertspecialtymeatswaukesha.com. And you can see everything that they have to offer. Ben, are you watching this Michigan game?
Yeah, it's on a screen in the background, not that closely.
Okay, which, by the way, Michigan just took the lead, 45-44. They were down 13. They have stormed back, and now they are up by a point. But Colorado State can't buy a bucket right now. They've had 3 or 4 shots that have it's gone halfway down the bucket and just never made it through. And there you go. They finally scored and got fouled, so they've got a chance to make it a 3-point play. But oh my God, Colorado State, I don't even know what their shooting is. I haven't even looked to see what their percentage is in this contest. But oh my goodness, they got to be shooting 30%. Terrible. Okay, I was wrong. They're 37%. They're 37% beyond the arc, by the way. And the Wolverines, their 3-point shooting, 22.2% right now in this contest. Just awful. But Colorado State back up by 2. And we're all rooting against Michigan and Juwan Howard to go down as a dismal failure. Crossing our fingers. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Mark says, do you think that Colin Kaepernick really does get a fair chance in the NFL? I think at this point, if you're serious about bringing him in, okay, yeah, you would give him a fair chance. You're not gonna go through the motions at this point. This is a guy that's been out of the league for a while. You're not going to go through the motions and just say, "Hey, we're trying to give him an opportunity." You're not going to do that. If you're a team that needs a quarterback and you want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence, maybe at some point you say, "Yep, you know what? We'll give you a shot," even if it's a backup. If you're looking for maybe to catch lightning in a bottle type of thing. But again, I go back to the fact that when all of this took place, and remember, there's two things to remember in all of this. One is he opted out of his contract. He had a contract and opted out of it. He opted out of it, and he was not playing that well at the time. And then you throw in all the things that were going on with, the protests and stuff, and nobody wanted to take a chance on a quarterback who was not playing that well, pay him more money, and bring adversity. Nobody wanted that. So I agree that the adversity had something to do with it. There's, whether you want to call it a black bar or whatever, I get it. But he was not playing that well at the time. He opted out of his contract. It wasn't like they cut him. He opted out. And then when they did want to set up an opportunity for him to show his wares, and at the very last minute, he, for whatever reason, changed the venue for what many felt was going to be a workout. He changed the venue. It kind of thought, well, maybe this guy's not serious about coming back. But if say Seattle, as Pete Carroll had alluded to, maybe they give him an opportunity. But you're not bringing him in just to show. You're not doing that to say, hey, look, we have a blind heart. We're willing to accept anybody. No, you're saying, look, we need to get better at quarterback. We don't have a quarterback, or we're looking for a major upgrade at quarterback. Now, for a guy that's been out of the league for 4 years, 5 years, I can't see anybody bringing him in just to bring him in for show. By the way, Michigan has gotten real hot after going down by 4. They have come storming back, hitting back-to-back threes. Colorado State not hitting their shots at all, and suddenly Michigan is starting to heat up. So the place is going crazy. Things have certainly, swung in the favor of Michigan as they lead 53-49 midway through the second half of that contest. So, anyway, just wanted to bring you up to date on that. But going back to the Colin Kaepernick thing, that's just my opinion. If you bring him in for a workout, it's a serious workout. They're not doing it for show anymore. There's so much water under the bridge. It's been too long. You bring him in because you believe he may have a shot at helping your team if you think he's got the wherewithal to be a quarterback in the NFL. That's the only reason you're bringing him in. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show. We can continue on. Interesting. I don't know if you saw this, but the Pittsburgh Steelers, they released Joe Schobert after adding Miles Jack, and Schobert was owed some money. They ended up saving money. They're going to save about $7.8 million on the salary cap by releasing Schobert. Jack agreed to a 2-year, $60 million deal yesterday. So the Steelers let go of Joe Schobert today. He is now out in the open market, 4th-round draft choice by the Browns at the time. And Schobert's been good. Registered more than 100 tackles in 5 of his 6 NFL seasons, including the past 5 straight. So been solid. But Joe Schobert out on the open market. A thought. There you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, do it. Hit us up on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. Also on Facebook, you can find us. Go to Facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show. You can find us on YouTube under Bill Michaels Show, which, by the way, again, thanks to everybody watching on YouTube. Every time we do something over there, people find us, and I love it, and I can't say thanks enough to all of you who follow us over there. It's great to be a part of your everyday life. Thank you for subscribing for free, by the way. Approaching 2,200 subscribers. I don't know if that's big or not. I mean, and as opposed to like McAfee, who's probably got 1 million, we got 2,200, but we grow every day. I love it. Love the fact that we're on YouTube. Although YouTube's been a little more restrictive when it comes to the music and such, but YouTube's been pretty good to us. It's been a great way to watch and listen to the program. So go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. So good stuff there. This is from David, who says, Brewers 97 wins, book it. Another one with 97 wins. We haven't even gotten into the season yet. I don't start predicting wins until we're like a couple of days away from getting into the season, only for the fact that between now and then, God forbid, knock on wood, I'm knocking on wood right now, injuries can happen. God, you get an injury that you don't want. I talk about it, but you get an injury to, say, Corbin Burns or Brandon Woodruff or, Josh Hader, or Devin Williams, or a couple of them. It just changes the whole perspective of what it is you think you're going to be able to do. So I don't go there. Not yet. I don't start getting into those predictions. Not yet, but we will eventually. I'm sure. This is from Stan. No, I already read that. I apologize. Stan wanted to know if we were at the restaurant this past weekend. Yes. This one is from Kim. Kim says, hey, Bill, I love what the Packers are doing. What other moves do you feel they need to make before they get to the NFL draft? Also, who are they going to target in the draft in the first round? I have not, and again, I've said this before, but until we get to April, I don't get too deep into the draft because it changes, and it shouldn't. I mean, the draft should not change at all. You shouldn't be going to the draft at this point going, who's rising up the big board, because it doesn't matter. The draft is pretty much done. Most teams have sat down and they have figured out what their draft is going to look like, right? Most teams do. Most teams already have. So their due diligence is completely done. I'm not worried about that. But when it comes to the draft, I think this draft is different for the Packers because I believe there's enough there, whether it be a defensive lineman, a wide receiver, something to that effect. Now, Chris Olave is a guy that a lot of people are talking about, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. I understand that. There's also Trevor Penning, big offensive tackle, but he's out of Northern Iowa. But I don't think he's going to fall. There's a lot of people that think that he's going to be really, he's solid and he's going to end up going high in this draft. There's also Kenyon Green, the big offensive lineman out of Texas A&M. But at this point in time, if you want an edge rusher, there's George Karlaftis, I think, the kid out of Purdue. He's solid. There's the corner, Trent McDuffie out of Washington. The offensive lineman, Tyler Smith out of Tulsa. There's Boye, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Boye Mafe. The kid out of Minnesota, who's a lot of people have talked about, especially with the fact that, Zadarius Smith is now gone, that if he falls to the Packers, he could be there. So again, there's so many things to speculate on, but it would not surprise me if the Packers jumped up in the draft to get, say, that wide receiver they're really coveting. I don't think they're going to get like Jameson Williams out of Alabama, but certainly we know they talked to, had a lengthy conversation with Chris Olave out of Ohio State. There's Traylon Burks out of Arkansas. Sky Moore, the other kid out of Western Michigan, but he doesn't rank real high. And I don't think you need to take a wide receiver just to take a wide receiver, unless you're going to jump up to get the guy you want. 6 minutes to go, 6+, 57-54. Michigan still on top of Colorado State after they battled back. Now it's into a per possession, per bucket type of game. And Michigan just hit a quick turnaround, too, got the foul as well. It's 59-54, Michigan over Colorado State. I'm dying. Roddy, who was guarding Dickinson for Colorado State. That guy has he's a hustler. I like him, but God, he's all over the place. And he keeps taking these outside. He keeps taking threes. He's firing up more. But now he's got 11 points in the game so far, but he's firing up bricks from everywhere. Oh my God. It's like from beyond the arc, just stop shooting. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, do it. 877-867-1670. Memphis and Boise State just now getting underway. 43-29 Providence running away with the game over South Dakota State. But the game that we're paying attention to right out of the chute, 60-54 Michigan over Colorado State right now. Marquette coming up later on today, playing at 3:30. That game will be seen on TBS for those that are looking for it at Dickies Arena. So there you go, just to kind of keep you all up to date. 877-867-1670. Jeremy Fowler from ESPN saying, after asking around, feeling as Falcons have stood strong in the Deshaun Watson process, and Watson has felt the love as far as the team's plan and recruitment, with many people reaching out. Falcons can load up in 2023 with ample cap space. Short term, they can add a free agent wide receiver and running back pieces as well. So they're feeling pretty strong in Atlanta that they've got enough to be able to say, we can bring it. Now, again, the other team that was thought to be closing in on Deshaun Watson was indeed the Seattle Seahawks. But that at least the discussion regarding Deshaun Watson has quieted somewhat dramatically. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Again, 877-867-1670. Colorado State now down by 7, 62-55, 5:26 to go in the contest. There you go. This is from Max. Now, Gunslinger says, let's be real. Randall Cobb not doing a solid. He probably had no choice. If he didn't take a cut, the Packers would have just cut him, and then he'd probably get less on the open market. Okay, it wasn't a hero move, but let's understand this for a second, okay? Cobb could have walked away and not played again and made about $2.5 to $3 million. For $2 million more, he's coming back to play with the Packers, plus incentives. He may have gotten a few $1 million to go elsewhere. I agree with that. That's not the point. The point is that he wanted to remain with the Packers. He could have said, cut me, which would then have pissed off the quarterback. So he could have said, no, the quarterback wants me, keep me. And the Packers could have said no. And then there would have been bad blood and the whole thing. Instead, he made it easy for the Packers by saying, give me a pay cut. If you don't realize that, your sarcasm falls on deaf ears. So to say he didn't have a choice, right, okay, I understand that technically. But you have to understand what's the parameters for what's going on around the Green Bay Packers. They're doing anything and everything they can to keep the quarterback happy. If you don't take that into consideration, it's a no-brainer. I agree with you. But he took less to remain and to keep everybody happy, including himself, I'm sure. But don't be naive. Mark Schofield from the NFL Wire is going to join us coming up next. We're going to talk about everything going on in the NFL. Also, we'll keep you up to date on the NCAA tournament. Got underway about an hour ago, a little bit less than that, and it's been good. About an hour and a half ago, as a matter of fact, 11:15 Central Time, as Michigan and Colorado State tipped off. Colorado State down by 4 with 5 minutes to go in the contest. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers have a new punter. The team has reportedly agreed to terms with former Chicago punter Pat O'Donnell on a 2-year contract. That, according to ESPN, spent the last 8 years with the Bears, who replaced Corey Bojorquez, who the team let walk in free agency. Meanwhile, more is coming to light on how the Packers got below the salary cap prior to the new league year starting yesterday. According to ESPN, the team restructured the contracts of wide receiver Randall Cobb and safety Adrian Amos, freed up about $10.5 million in cap space, and has them sitting roughly $5 million under the cap. But most of that's going to go to the new contract for linebacker Devondre Campbell, as well as O'Donnell's contract. The team could free up more with new contracts for wide receiver Devontae Adams and quarterback Jair Alexander. Several of the team's own free agents have signed elsewhere. That included guard Lucas Patrick signing with the Bears. Also, linebacker Zadarius Smith, who the Packers cut, has returned to where his career started with the Ravens in Baltimore. And turn to the Brewers. They are just a day away from their first spring training game against the Dodgers down in Arizona.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, Wisconsin going to hold an open practice at Fiserv Forum later today as the third-seeded Badgers prep for their matchup with 14th-seeded Colgate tomorrow night. Raiders come in winners of 15 straight, while the Badgers 8-0 all-time against seeds 13 or lower. Tip tomorrow set for around 8:50. Meanwhile, Marquette going to take on North Carolina this afternoon in Fort Worth in their first-round matchup. And the Bucs beat Sacramento 135-126 last night. Giannis Antetokounmpo 36 points, Chris Middleton 32. They'll be at Minnesota on Saturday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
Good day and welcome. We're glad you're with us. Certainly appreciate it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. We would love to hear from you. The Bill Michaels Show continues on. We're glad to have you. And just kind of an update real quick in the tournament. Michigan over Colorado State as of right now, 64-58. Colorado State just taking horrible shots. 3:37 left to go as they go to timeout. 64-58. South Dakota State getting just, they've climbed back into it. Give them some credit. Providence seemed to be running away with it for a while, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, South Dakota State's made it a game. 43-37 with 12:21 to go in the contest. Meanwhile, in the first half, Memphis and Boise State are tied up at 12 apiece, and Norfolk State and Baylor just now getting underway. So there you go. Meanwhile, to talk more about the NFL, our buddy Mark Schofield from the NFL Wire is joining us on the hotline. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Bill. Great to be back with you.
Glad to have you. So first of all, let me ask you about the Deshaun Watson stuff, because it seems like the Atlanta Falcons very quietly emerged, and now they seem to be some kind of a front runner in all of this.
They do seem to be a front runner in all of this. So, it does seem like it's coming down to, it looks like 3 NFC South teams: Carolina, New Orleans, and Atlanta. Obviously, the Saints made some moves from a financial standpoint today, restructuring a number of deals, including Taysom Hill, to create some cap space. But Atlanta seems to be making a push. That's close to where Deshaun Watson grew up. Obviously, there's some talent on that roster, tight end Kyle Pitts. So it seems like they've put themselves into a position to perhaps acquire him via trade. Now the question becomes, what happens with Matt Ryan? Does he find a new home, perhaps in Seattle, perhaps, who knows, maybe in Cleveland, because there's the Baker Mayfield situation, which now has to get sorted out, and they have to kind of put the toothpaste back in that tube. But it seems like Atlanta's now put themselves in position, and we're all waiting to see where Deshaun Watson ends up, which could happen in the next couple of hours even.
So now, go to the Seattle Seahawks, who I thought were going to be the front runner for Deshaun Watson. I thought they were going to make a move once they got rid of, Russell Wilson. They seemed destined to end up with Deshaun Watson services, and that would leave them scrambling for a quarterback. What are they doing?
I think at this point, they're probably looking at maybe a stopgap veteran, maybe just rolling out with Drew Lock for this season. I don't think that's their plan A, but they might have to end up in that road. And it wouldn't surprise me if that spot at number 9 in the draft is where the quarterback comes off the board first, whether it's Malik Willis. I think that would be the selection for them, but that might be their plan, to give sort of a 1-year stopgap type of situation, and then draft a quarterback at 9 and put them in a position to, where they could take their time. Because it seems like, this is a rebuild kind of situation now in Seattle. I don't think they're going to sort of rush into anything and try to make some big move where they're going to go out and get a Garoppolo or something like that. It might be just 1-year stopgap veteran, even if it's Drew Lock, and then draft a quarterback at 9 and start working them into the rotation.
I wanted to talk more about Aaron Rodgers, the contract here. The Packers are up against the cap. We all know it. Randall Cobb takes a little bit less money. Not only does he keep his job with Green Bay, but also Green Bay keeps him around for Aaron Rodgers. You got Devontae Adams in that situation. Give me your thoughts on what the Packers may or may not do, if they can do anything at all regarding free agency.
Yeah, I mean, they're really sort of hamstrung until they get a Devontae Adams long-term extension worked out. He's indicated, as we all know, he doesn't want to play on the franchise tag. And as of right now, they've got maybe $1 million cap space to sort of work with. And until they sort of come to terms with Adams on an extension that frees up a little bit more room, there's really not so much they can do. So I would imagine that everything that's happening in Green Bay from a front office standpoint is working on trying to get Adams that sort of extension to try to get that wrapped up, because until they do that, they can't really do too much. Maybe, as we get sort of into next week and we get really near the end of free agency, you might be able to bring somebody in on a one-term deal for, not a lot up front, a lot of incentive laden stuff where you still get some time to wiggle that out. But until the Adams situation is sorted out, there's not too much they can do. The big piece was those two players, Rodgers and Adams. You got Rodgers in. Now you got to figure out Adams. Obviously they bring Carson Smith back. Za'Darius is now in Baltimore with the Ravens, where he began his career. But it's really the Adams piece now that it's left on atop their to-do list.
I'm getting from Ryan Evans, who says the blockbuster after weeks of negotiation in one of the largest trades in NFL history, the Houston Texans and Saints have agreed to terms for the deal involving the 3-time Pro Bowl quarterback Deshaun Watson, per sources. The trade is pending physical and Watson's approval. There we go.
Well, there you go. And it seemed like we were just talking about, that New Orleans was really sort of making that push.
Yeah.
There was a report that, Watson was going to meet with Gail Benson, the owner in New Orleans. The Saints clearly with a need at quarterback. We wait to, if the report is accurate, you wait to see the terms of the trade, what New Orleans would have to give up in terms of what they have to give up blue chip type players. The Texans have reportedly agreed to the terms that were offered by teams like Atlanta, by teams like Carolina, by teams like New Orleans. Now we wait to see what it costs for the Saints to go get Watson, who, again, extremely talented quarterback. There's obviously the ongoing legal situation. He did sort of get good news last week from that standpoint with respect to the criminal side of it, with the grand jury not returning indictments. Still, the case does remain ongoing. The NFL could step into a suspension, but the Saints seem okay with it from their perspective. Even if a suspension comes, now we wait to see what they had to give up to go get Watson.
Yeah, I don't even know if this is a real. I'm checking to see if this is even a real account, so we'll hang on to it. But that's right. I would assume it would be dropped by somebody other than just him, and it's not yet. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through my Twitter timeline as well, Bill. I'm not seeing anything else.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's not legitimate, but we know that the Saints are in on this. We know that from other reporting, Aaron Wilson from Pro Football Network, who obviously a longtime Houston reporter before moving to PFN, who has a lot of sources inside that Texans building. He knows where this is at. He's been pretty much on top of the story. He talked about the Browns meeting and basically let us all know when that ended. Mm-hmm. And Aaron Wilson he was among those who reported today that Watson was going to meet with Gail Benson. And so the Saints are in this mix. So, whether that's a legitimate report or not, it's still possible within the next hour or couple or so that it is ultimately the Saints. We wait on confirmation there.
Yeah, so the Bills go all in. Von Miller, after getting a Super Bowl win again, leaves. He leaves, to go to a very strong AFC team. I got to think the AFC just continues to get better and better and better. And now this may defensively put them over the top, bringing in a guy like Von Miller. Give me your thoughts on the Bills getting him.
I wrote about this in USA Today when it went down last night, that this is a case of a team going all in on what was already a strength, because you look at from a percentage standpoint, the Bills got pressure on 38.5% of their defensive snaps last year. That was most in the NFL. And that was with Gregory Rousseau and Carlos Basham and Jerry Hughes and Oliver. They added Tim Settle. They added Taquan Jones with the defensive tackle spots in free agency. Now you go out and get Von Miller, who, when I was rewatching his season on film last night, right in that piece, you still see his ability off the edge to get pressure, his ability off the edge to win one-on-ones, whether it's out on the outside with speed to the inside or through the tackle with power. And what also really impressed me about watching him, what he did against the run. When you watch those games against the Niners at the end, the NFC Championship game, even their final game of the season, his ability to set the edge, to get tackles for a loss at an extremely high level. And I know, look, rushing the passer, getting sacks, that moves the needle. But when you think about, okay, you're going to play New England twice. We saw what New England was last year offensively. They were a run-first team. New England ran all over them that weird, windy Monday night game. Now you get a guy in Von Miller who, while he can also rush the passer, helps you set that edge, helps kick plays back to the inside, where now you have those defensive tackles you've added along with Starla Tuilole and Oliver. I mean, this is a very good defense now. And like you sort of said, the AFC looks really good right now. I mean, whether it's the AFC West and how that division looks, whether it's now what the Bills are doing, the AFC looks like a really tough conference.
Talking with Mark Schofield of the NFL Wire, at Mark Schofield is where you can find him over on Twitter. So I want to go back to Green Bay. I know that there's a lot of consternation now because you're waiting to find out what they're going to do with Devontae Adams, Jair Alexander as well, and how they're going to handle those contracts and contract extension. The Packers are up against the cap. What else do you feel? Because I look at the Green Bay Packers and I think there's probably three areas that they need to improve, probably through the draft. They're going to go for wide receiver, defensive line help, and maybe an outside edge rusher. And other than that, I think they're pretty strong. But what do you feel the Packers need to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are the areas where I would hit. I mean, I do think you need to add a receiver. It's a very good, deep receiver class. I mean, when you're looking at where the Packers might want to expend that draft capital, and you're thinking about, okay, well, you've got picks, on all 3 days. How do you want to allocate those resources? The pick of 28, I think you might find an edge there. The Purdue edge, George Kalfidis, he seems to be sliding a little bit. did a mock draft that went up today where that's what I had the Packers doing with that pick at 28, because it seems like Trayvon Walker from Georgia, Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, they're kind of moving up, and he's sliding back a little bit. It used to be that it was Javon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, and then George Kalfidis as the 1, 2, 3 edge of this class. Put them in whatever order you want. It seems like Kalfidis is sliding, and you've got Johnson and Walker coming up. He could be there at 28. That would be a good option. And then when you think about receiver at 59, at 92, you might have options available to you. So those are areas where I think they could certainly address, edge, wide receiver, certainly something they can do. Defensive tackle, also another thing that they could perhaps address, get somebody, alongside Kenny Clark, and you look at options at the draft at this position. Certainly we know the names, Devonta Wyatt, Jordan Davis from Georgia. If those two players are available, then those would be ideal guys, but I don't know if they're going to slide all the way to 28. Maybe a Perion Winfrey from Oklahoma, who's getting some first round buzz at a really good Senior Bowl week. He probably slides out of the first round. He could be an option for them at 59. And so they'll have options with those first three picks, the one at 28, the one at 59, and the one at 92, to address those positions. And they should be able to find good players, because the positions that they need, those are some positions that have some depth in this class. Thankfully, they don't need to address quarterback, because that's one of the position groups that's thin to begin with and kind of thins out pretty quickly.
I want to ask you also, with Rodgers coming back, will there be much talk of, say, a guy like Jordan Love and teams calling, do you think? And I said this earlier today. I said, look, if teams are not calling to get a hold of Jordan Love, and I don't know who is and who isn't. I haven't heard a lot of rumors about Jordan Love's name being tossed around, other than maybe what his value would be once Aaron Rodgers signed. But I would look at it as, is that somewhat of an indictment that the Packers took a guy that really not a lot of teams want?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, that's certainly one way to look at it. You do get the sense that when Rodgers signed the extension, or when it was reported that he had agreed to an extension with the Packers, that most people are like, oh, well, then Jordan Love is going to get X, Y, or Z on the trading market. And then teams seem to have moved, the NFL seems to have moved in a different direction towards the Carson Wentz's, the Mitchell Trubisky's, the Garoppolos, and certainly the Watson piece is something we're all sort of waiting on. Maybe we get some corollary moves once the Watson trade goes down. And so it does feel like there's not that much of a market for him, which is a little bit surprising given that he was a first-round pick. He was viewed pretty highly in that class. There were some that had him up along with Justin Herbert and Tua Tagovailoa and Joe Burrow in that draft class. He obviously slid to where he did in the first round. And so, you do sort of wonder, does the league look at what he did on film in college, look at what he did in his lone start, and think, you know what, there are just better options here in terms of veterans, or maybe even in this rookie class, than Jordan Love. So, it's somewhat surprising given the draft capital that was expended when they drafted him and the trade up to go get him. But the league might just sort of view him as, okay, well, we have better options if we have to go down the quarterback acquisition road.
Who do we look at as the strongest team coming out of the AFC and the strongest team in the NFC as things stand right now?
I mean, I really like what Buffalo has done. I think the Von Miller acquisition, some of the other stuff, adding the two defensive tackles, I really think they put themselves in position to be a very good football team on the AFC. And, obviously the AFC looks very stout, but I think what Buffalo has done is very good. And I think, look, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, when you get those two quarterbacks, those two number 12s coming back, that certainly helps. I know, yes, the Los Angeles Rams are coming off of Super Bowl, but now you've lost Von Miller and, maybe Super Bowl hangovers, things like that. I look at Tampa Bay and Green Bay. Obviously, Green Bay, as we talked about, they got to figure out the Devontae Adams piece here. But those two teams have certainly helped themselves when you get those two quarterbacks back, because this is a quarterback-driven league. When you have guys like that at the helm under center, provided they're healthy, you've got a shot, particularly in what looks to be a thinner conference overall than the AFC.
Great stuff as always, Mark. We certainly appreciate it, and we will talk again soon as things continue to matriculate in the NFL, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Bill. Have a great afternoon.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon. There you go. That's our buddy Mark Schofield of the NFL Wire. You can find his stuff there. It's a sad note, but Michigan is going to advance. 28 seconds remaining, 74-63. They are beating Colorado State. No! Yeah.
No!
And their shooting sucks. They were out hustled by Michigan in the second half, and their shooting woes were notable. Just awful. So they, for the game, they did not shoot the ball very well. I mean, Michigan only shot 28% beyond the arc. They actually shot 36.4, but Roddy kept taking shots. He was 1 for 6. Tanya was 0 for 4 beyond the arc. And then you had Jacobs coming off the bench, who was firing him up and bricking him off. He was 0 for 3. So they just did not shoot the ball very well, did not get a lot of good looks. And as a matter of fact, David Roddy just fouled out. 74-63, Michigan by 11 with 16 seconds remaining. And they are going to advance in the NCAA tournament. So my first game right out of the chute, not only is it disappointing, but it also goes as a loss for me, Ben. Not feeling good about that.
Yeah, it's not good. When should I start the narrative that Michigan paid to be in the tournament?
You can start that now. I would feel better about Michigan if Juwan Howard wasn't on the sidelines coaching.
Oh, I'd love Phil Martelli. I was raised
I'd feel better
about St. Joe's fans.
Right, I'd feel better about that, but it is over. It's official. 75-63, Michigan gets the win. The first game is in the books in the NCAA tournament. They ended up upsetting a semi-upset, the 11 seed. Michigan upsets the 6 seed Colorado State. And the Big Ten, their first contest, they advance, and they will then face the winner of Tennessee and Longwood. Tennessee being the 3 seed, Longwood being the 14 seed. That's where Michigan's run comes to an end when they face Tennessee. But nevertheless, that's the way things went down just moments ago. So you've got some other games that are in progress. 54-47. Providence over South Dakota State, 24-17. And by the way, that's 5:22 left to go in the game there. 24-17 early on. Memphis beating Boise, 6:02 left to go in the first half. Baylor quickly 21-10 over Norfolk State with 12:45 to go in the first half. And the only one that's in the books is Michigan. Now, coming up next, you're going to have, coming up here in about 15 minutes, Longwood and Tennessee will get underway. Then you got the Richmond Spiders. The 12 seed, that's that dreaded 12-5 matchup, 5-12 matchup, going to take on Iowa. Gonzaga gets underway with Georgia State. And then you've at 3:30 Central Time, Marquette and North Carolina get underway at Dickies Arena down in Fort Worth, Texas. So that's the way things go. So there you go. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. Come back. We got a lot more to get to. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Quick Trip. Don't forget a Quick Trip. You can still get yourself registered by downloading the app, getting some extra scratches. Download that app and get yourself registered to win the 2022 Chevy Tahoe. And if you get one of those hot take-home meals or a Coke product or a Smart Water, you increase your chances by getting additional scratches to win that Chevy Tahoe, that beautiful Chevy Tahoe. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Your race tickets await at Road America, the Moto America Superbikes, IndyCar, NASCAR, and so much more. Go to roadamerica.com for your tickets right now. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. We are glad you're with us. The NCAA tournament underway. Michigan gets a win, 75-63. They knock off Colorado State, the 6th seed, the 11th seed Michigan, who many thought they should have been in a play-in game, including yours truly. They get a mild upset early on. The 11th seed over the 6th seed, 75-63. Other games in progress. Providence, the 4 seed, 56-47. South Dakota State just simply not going away in this one. 3:58 remaining there. 27-19. Memphis, the 9 seed over Boise State as of right now. That's 3:57 left to go in the first half there. You've got Baylor 27-10 over Norfolk State. 10:44 left to go in the first half. Coming up next, Longwood in Tennessee. Tennessee, the 3 seed, Longwood being the 14th seed. They're going to get underway. Then you got number 5, Iowa out of the Big Ten, taking on the Richmond Spiders coming up a little after 2 o'clock Central Time. The game we're paying attention to today is number 9, Marquette, taking on number 8, North Carolina, Dickies Arena, Fort Worth, Texas. That game gets underway approximately 3:30 Central Time. So that's how things stand in the NCAA tournament as it got underway just moments ago. 877-867-1670. You want to find us, please feel free to do so. This is from Michael. Michael says, you bring up a good point about Jordan Love. If nobody's calling for his services with this market being what it is, don't you have to admit then that Gutekunst made a mistake? Yeah, I think you do. Again, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. There could be calls. You would assume that word would leak out that somebody somewhere in some way, shape, or form is looking at this saying, that, hey, Jordan Love, we made a couple of calls to the Packers, or we made a call to the Packers and Jordan Love was not available, or what is somebody offering for Jordan Love? What is his market value? The Packers, look, if somebody calls up and says, hey, we'll give you a 4th round draft choice, would you be interested in parting with him? Maybe. If the Packers aren't going to leak it out, if their guy's only getting a 3rd or 4th round draft choice, because that would mean for a guy that they traded up in the 1st round to get, that nobody thinks that highly of the guy. Nobody thought that highly of the guy. And Jordan Love didn't deserve any of this. He didn't want to be thrust into the spotlight with a pick from the Packers. He didn't want to be, traded up for in the 1st round. He didn't, none of that. He didn't ask for all of that. And he certainly has, when he comes into a game, whether it's preseason or regular season, with all kinds of prove-it pressure on him. Not that any other quarterback doesn't, but because of the guy that he's trying to fill the shoes of, or at least at the time was, comes in with a ton of eyes upon him. We all know that. So he didn't ask for any of this. But that being said, if nobody's calling, then yeah, you're right. And as I said earlier, that would be somewhat of an indictment of the draft choice, of jumping up in the draft to get the services of Jordan Love. And remember, when you think about that, in that sense, you would then say that if team, well, again, you might have to wait for the Deshaun Watson, domino to fall, and then other teams might start looking. But you would assume that if nobody's calling at all, And even, like Tennessee and other teams were reported to be going after his services. Now, since then, they've changed quarterbacks and things aren't the same from when he was drafted. But you look at some of those teams and you're like, man, if nobody else is going after that, I mean, come on. By the way, Ben, did you catch what happened in the Michigan game?
That Michigan won?
Did you see with 32 seconds remaining, up 11, Michigan called timeout?
No, I did not.
Didn't you notice that?
I turned it off.
Yeah. With 32 seconds to go, up 11, Michigan called timeout. So does that mean that Coach Medved can walk up to Juwan Howard and punch him?
Oh, I'm gonna tweet this right now. This information needs to be talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's to me, if I'm in the post-game press, I'm asking the question. You got pissed about this. This is what you did. Shouldn't you then be upset with yourself?
Oh, I think I remember what it was. One of the Michigan players had the ball on the baseline and was falling out of bounds.
Okay. Was that what it was?
We could start that narrative. I think that's what it was.
I see Dan Dockich laughing at it, and Clay Travis and others have made a mention of it over on Twitter. I did not notice that specific play, so I couldn't honestly tell you, but they're talking about it. And I thought, okay, I'd have to go back and watch the end of that game. And I don't have time to do that sitting here on the air, but it was like, okay, wait a minute.
Now, Eli Brooks got a rebound, was kind of trapped, falling out of bounds, and called timeout.
And he called timeout. Okay, well, then that's forgivable.
Yeah.
Then that's forgivable. But yeah,
which sucks. I wish it was Juwan Howard. That would have been.
And I know Dockich can't stand Michigan either, so it might be skewed watching Dan Dockich's Twitter account, but yeah.
I can't really stand him, frankly.
Right. I know. There's not a lot of people that can, but I like Dan. Dan has always been, you know what, though? He's been extremely fair to Wisconsin. He really likes Coach Gard, too. But he's also an outspoken guy. He pisses a lot of people off. I understand that. 877-867-1670. Kathy says, why is everybody complaining about Aaron Rodgers coming back and the money? Let's just be happy he's back and we still have opportunities to win. Kathy, I couldn't agree more. I said that no matter what you say, personality-wise, whatever, the football player still gives you the best chance to win. 100% agree. Mark says you can't hate the players because of the coach. No, I agree with that. Yeah, I don't hate the players. You can hate the program. You can't stand the coach, but I don't hate the players. I don't want them to win. It doesn't alleviate my animosity towards Michigan University. It just doesn't. But I don't hate the players. So
I think the best way to spin all of this, and this is what I'm going to go off when they win another game inevitably, reach the Sweet 16, that Phil Martelli would have taken him further in the tournament anyway.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's good that Juwan Howard's back as coach.
Yeah, no matter what they do, even if they win a title, we will say Phil Martelli would have won it by more.
Agreed. Exactly.
This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at New Mel Medical, treating guys with ED all over the state of Wisconsin and well beyond the borders. And if you are having issues with that, you're one of those people. You know it. You're living, learning, love it. You don't love it. You hate it. But you know what I'm talking about. And in addition to that, you also look at, you look at our friends at New Mel Medical and you call them. You call them up and say, hey, I've got some issues. They got a 98% success rate at treating guys with ED, 98%, and they can help you out. All you got to do is call 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. Give them a shout. And they can help you out also with the all-in-one weight loss program or with low T. If you call them up, low T issues, and you're moody, you're sluggish, you're dragging, they can help you out there as well. So just give them a shout. 414-455-4451. That's our friends from the New Mel Medical Center. You can't do anything if you don't call, though. Give them a shout. 414-455-4451. 4451. Couple of segments yet to go. We'll come back. It's caught up on everything that's going on around college hoops. As far as the tournament goes, we'll get you caught up on all the scores and such. And we are still licking a little bit of our wounds as we were all rooting against Michigan, but they pulled off the win. The minor upset over Colorado State, and got the win just a little while ago. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad to have you. Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. A couple of segments to go on this St. Patrick's Day, this March Madness Day, this day in which one sleeve of Girl Scout cookies made its way into my tummy. Loving it. Speaking of good things making their way into your tummy, that would be our friends at Wrestling Taco. The Wrestling Taco, 84th Street, just south of State Fair Park. Stop in, and Marcus is usually in the kitchen. Nicole's usually behind the bar. On a day like today, you go get some tacos, maybe green tacos, who knows. Get yourself a margarita if you choose to do so. Otherwise, you can always go in on Guinness. And they've got these big theater seats in front of their big, I think it's like 85-inch screen TV on the wall. Go get the theater seats, sit down, eat some tacos, enjoy your day. Watch some of the tournament. Great way to go. Great destinational spot. That's the Wrestling Taco on 84th Street, just south of the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Otherwise, you can look for the giant, I think they got a giant Guinness trailer out in the parking lot of Stoley's Hog Alley, right there in Summit off of 94. You can't miss it. Go on this warm St. Patrick's Day. Go get your picture taken in the giant Stoley's chair. Excuse me. They have all kinds of food and really good beverages right now. I just saw their picture over on Facebook. That's what reminded me. So check out Jeff and Alicia and everybody at Stoley's Hog Alley today too. If you're out and about, good stuff. This one's from Archie, who says, "What about Allen Robinson, the wide receiver from the Chicago Bears? Wouldn't he look good in green and gold?" Allen Robinson still has not signed, as far as I know. Right? He hasn't signed with anybody, Ben. Right? Do you know?
Correct.
I didn't think so. I first of all, I agree with you. He would look good. I think he's still under the age of 30, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's 28, 29, something like that. And he's been really solid for the Bears. They rank him pretty high, too. If I remember correctly, when they were ranking all of the free agents, he was up there. I think he might have even been top 10. I don't think the Packers can afford him. You can't go after him. You don't have any money. Not until you get, this is what's so detrimental about Davante Adams and where the Packers are at, is that say Adams decides, you know what, much like Pete Doherty said, that there's no way he's going to get more than $65 to $70 million guaranteed. Okay, well, the rumor was he was looking for 100, even more maybe. Okay, so if that's what he was looking for, there's no way they're going to sign him. So you got him for the franchise tag, and the number is what it is. But if you could sign him, get that salary number down, push some of that guaranteed money down the road, get him some signing bonus early and get a low cap hit, and save maybe $10 million a year, that'd be huge. Because that then would propel you into, say, the Jair Alexander deal. Get that deal done, save yourself some more money there. Maybe you could go get a guy like Robinson. I don't think you can. I think he's going to demand too much money actually on the open market by the time it's all said and done. There's DJ Chark as well. But I think he signed a one-year deal with the Lions, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's going to the Lions, if I read correctly. But there's really not a lot of, high-end wide receivers that are sitting out there right now that have not been scooped up by others. I'm not a big fan of Juju Smith-Schuster, by the way. I know he's young, but he's got that shoulder injury. He didn't play a lot last year. He's always been self-proclaimed, in my opinion, better than what he is. I still think he's good. He's got good speed, but he still does not overly impress me. 877-867-1670. And this is the other one from Jason, who says the other guy that's out there is Odell Beckham Jr. If you take a flyer on him, you could get him for a lot less money, but coming back from the torn ACL, he tore it in the Super Bowl. I mean, you're talking at least November, December before you probably even get him. He might be a guy you can just pick up off the scrap heap as the season goes on. I certainly wouldn't invest in him now. I think it'd be crazy. Be crazy to do it. And that leaves your options relatively low right now for the wide receiver position. There's some other guys, maybe outside linebacker or an outside pass rusher you might be able to find, but other than that, there's not a whole lot out there that you're thinking to yourself, man, I have to have this. By the way, Marcus Mariota. How old do you think Marcus Mariota is, Ben?
28.
Well, you must have looked. Yeah, he's 28.
I didn't look.
You didn't? Not at all. Okay. He's 28. Hasn't it seemed like Marcus Mariota's been in the league for 20 years?
Oh, man. I was so excited to get Chip Kelly to trade the entire farm to have him in his offense before he flamed out and showed everyone that he was a bad coach.
Marcus Mariota seems like he's been in the league for 20 years. And he's been a career backup. Last year it would look like he was going to be somewhat of in a hybrid role for the Raiders. But I saw his name pop up today. I'm like, yeah, he's still around. And then I looked, he's only 28 years old. He's the oldest 28-year-old guy I can think of. It's like, wow.
Same age as Jameis, right?
Jameis, what, Winston? I think so, yeah. Yeah. But I was like, wow. You talk about a name that just faded off into, as Mike Tyson would say, Bolivia. Casey says, what do you think Marquez Valdes-Scantling is going to get on the open market? And if he doesn't get what he wants, does he come back to the Green Bay Packers? That's a great question. Here's something to think about when it comes to MVS. First of all, he's got speed. So anytime you have serious speed, you're going to get looks. There's two things that are in play here. One is, what are people going to look at and say, yeah, you were prolific downfield, but it was because Aaron Rodgers got you the ball. Or on the opposite side, you could say you didn't get a lot of pass opportunities because Aaron Rodgers didn't look for anybody else other than Davante Adams. I don't know how to take Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I mean, obviously, general managers are going to know. They're going to look at him, and then you're going to find out his value. But it wouldn't shock me if he didn't get what he wanted on the open market and may come back and try to bolster his numbers on a couple of year deal, 1 or 2 year deal with the Packers, since he does know the system and Aaron Rodgers sang his praises. But this whole thing that was written about MVS was this trust issue with Aaron Rodgers, and he needs to be trusted, which bothers me because I'm thinking, what incoming wide receiver is going to immediately earn the trust of Aaron Rodgers? And quite frankly, I don't care. I go back to, if Rodgers continues to do the same thing in the postseason and will not look at guys that are open because he, quote, doesn't trust them, and it's detrimental to the team, as we've seen in the last 2 years in the past, then not getting to a Super Bowl is going to be on Rodgers more than anything if it doesn't work out. In that scenario, okay, there's other things that can happen, but in that scenario. But yeah, I don't know what he's going to be worth on the open market. 877-867-1670. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, and we will get into the tournament scores. You've got Tennessee and Longwood getting ready to get underway. They're going to tip off here in a couple of minutes. That is at Gainbridge Fieldhouse down in Indianapolis. Then a little after 2 o'clock, the Richmond Spiders, the 12-5 matchup, going to be taking on the Iowa Hawkeyes. And then so on and so forth. And the game we're going to be paying attention to later today at 3:30 Central Time, number 9 Marquette on the road against North Carolina at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. Stay tuned for that as well. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready,
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Hey, reminder, our friends at the Milwaukee Admirals, they are still, even though basketball is prevalent right now, they're still sprinting towards a Calder Cup. For tickets, go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That is MilwaukeeAdmirals.com, especially on those Fish Fry Fridays. Those uniforms are fantastic. Fantastic. Let's get you caught up on the scores that are going on right now. Baylor 41-24 over Norfolk State right now. They have 1:15 left to go in the first half there. Tennessee and Longwood just now tipped off. Michigan, and I gave them props. I rip them all the time, but I gave them props. 75-63. Their defense pretty much shut down and frustrated Colorado State. And the 6th seed falls to the 11th seed, 75-63. Providence, it looked like South Dakota State, who came storming back, made it a game, but then Providence quit screwing around and ultimately put them away, 66-57. So Providence gets a win right now in the tournament. I'm 1-1 overall. Memphis, Boise State. Memphis over Boise State right now, 38-19 at the half. Memphis over Boise State right now at the half. And that's the way things line up. Coming up a little bit later on, Iowa hosting Richmond. Then at 3:15 today, the number 1 Bulldogs of Gonzaga taking on Georgia State. And Marquette will be taking on North Carolina 3 o'clock or 3:30 Central Time today. So keep that in mind as well. And then it kind of goes on from there. By the way, so the Fiserv Forum, the staff at the Fiserv Forum, they have less than an hour on Friday, tomorrow, to usher the fans out the door from the first NCAA tournament game and get it ready for the second NCAA tournament game and get spectators through the security screenings and then back in. And if anything's going to go as scheduled, it'll be great. But it sounds like a situation fraught with the potential for delays and irritated fans. That's what happened 3 years ago on the same timeline at a different venue. So the schedule, by the way, is worked out by the NCAA TV partners from Turner Sports. They gave Milwaukee the first round games the tightest turnaround between sessions, with 2 hours, 50 minutes between the start time for the second and third games of the day. The shortest of the first 4 games played Tuesday and Wednesday was 2 hours and 15 minutes. So it's going to be a nightmare. So if you're going to the game and wanting to see the Badgers, you could end up standing outside waiting for the turnaround while you've got those fans exiting and other fans waiting to get in. So just kind of keep that in mind going to the game. And Wisconsin being that, the last game of the day. The last game of the day at the Fiserv Forum against Colgate, scheduled to tip off at 8:50 Central Time, a first-round site in Hartford, Connecticut in 2019 using the same timing, had the last game start at 9:10, which was 10:10 Eastern Time, because of the delays earlier in the day. So I think it's going to require some patience at the Fiserv Forum and the turnaround that you're about to face if you're going to the contest down there tomorrow. So, Ben, what do you got going on this weekend? You're coming to Milwaukee to be near the atmosphere at the Fiserv Forum tomorrow night, correct?
Yeah, Friday night, we're going to come down after work ends over here. And then, I don't know, Saturday, if the weather's nice, we might hang around and play golf, but it's looking bad. So I'll probably sit on my couch for 8 hours, 9 hours on Saturday.
All right.
And then Sunday, we are playing golf for the first time this year.
Where are you playing golf at?
Place called Door Creek. It's near us in Madison.
Okay. So so you're going back to Madison, what, on Friday night?
Probably, no, on Saturday.
On Saturday? Okay.
On Saturday, staying over at a friend's house.
Okay.
My game is in absolute shambles, by the way.
My buddy went down to hit balls, down to the driving range to hit balls yesterday and the day before. And you know how you start out, you hit a 7-iron, then you hit a 5-iron, then you hit a 3-iron, then you hit your 3-wood, then you hit your driver?
Oh, I can't hit a 3-iron, but yeah, okay. I guess.
Well, he works it backwards. 7-iron was great. 5-iron was okay. By the time he got to the driver, where he practices, it's an upper and lower, so you can hit off the top or hit off the bottom. And the bottom ones are enclosed in concrete. It's not just those little wings that are between each tee box. Each tee box area is enclosed in concrete, and then you scoot the mat sideways so you don't hit the wall. He hit one off the toe, which went straight out in front of him and bounced off the wall and almost came back and hit him in the junk. So,
I was on that same wave. So
yeah,
I feel his pain.
He said it went through his legs and then came back and hit him in the back of the leg. It went pang, 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 and then got him that quick as he took a swing and hit the tip of it. It hit the wall in front of him, banged off of the concrete wall and came back through his legs, hit off the wall behind him, and then as it came back, it ricocheted back and got him right in the back of the thigh. So he almost took one right to the fun zone from an errant golf shot.
Tell you what, I'll be lucky to break 120 on Sunday.
Really?
I've decided this is the year I'm going to become a good putter. I don't know how, but I'm just going to become like Kevin Kisner.
Putting is all feel. It's all feel. It's all feel and read. And the one thing that I always keep in mind when putting is all I'm trying to do is to putt. And what happens is when you think about that, you end up putting hard and going far beyond the hole, and you end up leaving yourself with a 2-putt back. So all I try to do is my goal is to 2-putt. But what I started doing was, And I ended up going to a golf coach who got at me and really kind of focused on my putting. Was I put a weight between my hands, flat weight, and I never grip it. I just put it between my hands and I move my arms and my shoulder like a pendulum. So that way one never works without the other. You're never like pulling the club through with a hand and you're never pushing it through with a hand or a shoulder or what have you. But I keep my arms, like a pendulum. And then in addition to that, it was always you go straight for or short of the hole. Don't ever hit past. And I know some people don't like that, but it really did. It improved my game dramatically because until you're right on it, you got a great feel. You're trying to just barely get to the hole and then tap in for two. That's all your goal should be. And then once you get past that, then you get into enough of a feel where you're trying to drain them from all over the place. But it really helped my game big time. All right. Got a lot of March Madness, a lot of St. Patrick's Day shenanigans to get to. And I think we're all going to be a little maybe hungover tomorrow. I'm not sure, but we'll see. But tomorrow on the second day of the NCAA tournament, good stuff. Kenny and Heilprin, by the way, talking a lot of Badger coming up tonight. Kenny and Heilprin on the Zone out in Madison and on many of these same streaming capabilities. Look for that as well. Ben Kenny, Zach Heilprin, they're going to go at it.